Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Past The Barb. Today is Monday, July 10th. We are back from the holiday, and we've got most of our crew these days, I would say, which is actually pretty surprising. We're still waiting on Will to one day get cell reception. When that may happen, we may never know. But joining me up top, not holding up the bottom, we got Ryan Pinkalla.
What up? I'm ready to rip. You know, we're here.
We got our new co-host who gets to get just antagonized the whole time by our lovely other guy who's back. We got Sam Sobi.
Howdy. We got a big show today, big guests, big agenda.
Yes, today will be fun. And joining us, he is back again. This last time, at least, he wasn't gone for 3 months doing electrician's work. This time he was muskie fishing, I think.
I actually had we'll get into it. But
he was doing real.
I did have a real issue to skip. So it's good to be back. It's good to be back, boys.
And for the folks that aren't watching on the live feed, his mustache is looking absolutely superb right now. I don't know if it's grown out from the Northwoods action or it's been this way for a while, but on screen it really looks beautiful. So if you're not watching on screen, get there.
I've got a little note about that. Maybe we'll get into it.
I'm actually the most surprised because I can just tell Cody showered before this, and that might be the first time in our 34 episode history.
Actually, you're wrong.
That's the grease.
That's straight grease from a wedding weekend, and I just kind of rolled out of bed this morning with a knowingly 2-day hangover. I'm like, oh.
Whose wedding? How was the wedding?
Alex Hallbrooks. That was the best man.
Did you give a good speech? Give us just a little short intro of the speech.
Wait, could we understand your speech? That's a better
question. So I've always been, if I'm like standing up, I'm gonna be really shitty. But if I'm a best man, now this is like number 2, like I feel like a huge responsibility. But I was so nervous, dude. Like words were not coming to me. They were not coming to me.
Did you rehearse it all? Did you make note cards? Did you do anything, or you was like,
no, not at all. And then in the last 2 minutes, my buddy who's sitting next to me, he's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "I am not okay right now." He's like, "You're not eating anything." I'm like, I'm thinking. I'm trying to think. I'm like, I got it. Don't say anything to me. I've got it.
Nobody look at me.
Nobody. And then like the bridesmaid, like, Sammy, I met you back in high school, and we had a really good time back in college, and I remember your boyfriend. And I'm
my goodness.
Connor's just ripping shots at this.
Beyond a blessing that you found someone as great as you to spend your life with. It has been an honor getting to know him and joining him in our family of friends.
I didn't think I was going to cry. I didn't think I was going to cry.
Even though he likes Morgan Wallen and you like Mariah Carey and it's just like setting up to be sound like the best speech ever.
No shots against the bridesmaids, but going into a best man speech, I feel like you're always going to succeed.
You got
you got to be last because it's you're gonna top whatever she's got.
Yeah. No, nothing too vulgar was said, which I was pretty surprised by myself. I kept it to a low roar. The people were chuckling. Got many solid responses throughout the whole weekend, so I was pretty pumped. Pumped about it.
In previous best man speeches, have you ever got a little rowdy or vulgar and then like made eye contact with, maybe an elderly grandparent of the group?
No. I've always been pretty solid on that end. Like I know how to talk with the boys and how to talk around like people that know this person.
Yeah.
So you got to keep it somewhat to a light roar, but you can do a little jab here and there. But more or less, I found that making fun of yourself is the best way to go.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think
what was the food scene at this wedding, dude?
Well, I was gonna say
I don't even know.
I totally know what you mean about the speech and everything, though, because by far the most nervous I have ever been for a speaking moment in my life was my brother's wedding. best man speech.
Yep.
Like I was like, I'm talking and like my voice is vibrating. I'm like, I haven't done this since I was like 6.
Yep.
What's going on right now? And like, just like take a drink of beer and you're like, chill out.
I'm just like psychologically like trying to keep myself confident, like talking in front of just random people, being like, hey, what's going on? But like I can feel myself getting that nervous anxiety. I'm like, nope. Let's go. Let's go. No,
I think, but if you deal one joke and it hits, you're like game on.
It worked. It worked. I think I said something like I think I like referred to an old Chris Farley quote, and it's like, oh my God! I came in the other night from her job site. This poor lady, she backed into a fan. Disaster. Total disaster. And the old people like started chuckling. I'm like, all right, well, my boys are always with me, so I got some old people on my side.
No, that is so true. I think it's way harder personally to give a speech to 50 people you know very well than to give a speech to 1,000 people you don't know at all. That's my own thought on it. Like that's why I was freaking out at the best man speech, and we've all done other fairly large seminars or speaking gigs at this point in time.
Easy.
And those are so easy. And then you step in front of everyone you love and you're like, I'm a puddle.
I think it's weird though when it's like the other people's family, dude. Because like I did one at my sister's wedding. And like I didn't really know like their family at all, so you don't really know what lines you can cross, right?
Yeah.
And I just went for it, and I was like, "Fuck it!" But luckily, everyone was on board. But like, if they're not, I could see that being like total shit stew.
Yeah, dude. Like I had like such good, decent content, and especially the end, like bringing the bride into it because she spent this huge weekend with us muskie fishing, and I'm like. My buddy's like, do you mind if she comes muskie fishing? I'm like, yeah, she's going to last like 3 hours. But yeah, fine. Well, she lasted like 40 and she ended up catching a muskie.
That's sick.
And then at the end of it, so in Green Bay, like all my buddies, so there's a rule that has to be followed. And I'm like, I have to bring this in. There's a rule that has to be followed. If you catch a muskie like in the boat, you instantly have to shotgun a beer. If you catch a muskie in the boat, that's the rule. Rules must be followed in Green Bay.
Absolutely.
And well, the only beer that was available was another one of our buddies, and all he had was like a 16-ounce Busch Light. And I was pulling on the crowd, like going with the story, and like her catching a muskie after 40 hours was not the moment that I knew that she was right for Alex. The moment was when Tyler Herman over there brought us a 16-ounce Busch Light because we didn't have any beer in the boat, and rules must be followed. You shotgun a beer after you catch a muskie. That girl shotgunned a beer faster than any 350-pound male that I've ever seen in my life. Gunned it. It was priceless. But
I can just see Alex there. He's like crying.
Oh yeah, he was crying though. He was like,
God, I do love her.
He's like, dude, that was great. I thought you were gonna bring up my princess nickname. I'm like, no, I was just kidding. You are a princess though.
That's good. Well, we're going to get into current events of kind of what we've all had going on lately. I know Hahner diving a little bit into that. He's been gone a lot lately. We got a lot more going on there. But first, Pink, what did you have going on over the 4th? We get anything big going on? And I don't think we're going to bring it up this episode because we got a large docket, but the Twisted Fork was a hit. So
yeah, dude, I think you were into it.
Yeah, we'll have that segment back for people that were into that. But cook up anything good over the weekend? Do anything cool for the 4th? What'd you have going on?
Yeah, I did a little Northwoods loop. Went over, fished up by Hayward a bit. Ended up kind of down like winter area. And I didn't actually fish all that much, to be honest. I had like this big vision. Like I was going up there to like hit it really hard. And I did the first day. I went up there muskie fishing, and then I didn't have anywhere to stay, so I was like mad scrambling. I kind of just decided to drive up there last minute, and I actually ended up talking to Hayden up there, your buddy, because I was like, dude, like, where can I crash up?
Oh, great. He
You
just
crashed
cut
a
out.
lot of places.
He just cut out.
But
Drunk.
we didn't end up
You
linking
cut
up.
out.
I ended up
Go back. You cut out.
All right. Anyway, I went to Hayward. I had plans to fish potentially with Hayden, but then it didn't work out because I didn't feel like driving very far, and ended up just going to Trails End and getting absolutely shit bombed with like a family reunion of people, and then
I was
crashing
gonna
their driveway.
I have a note on my phone, and I just remembered this because of you bringing this up. And this note was put in at like 1:37 a.m. on, I don't remember what day of the week. All I remember is like a ton of Snapchats to me, and then one saying, "Please remember this for the podcast." So this is me doing my diligence, and it just says "Pink on the res?" ?
I also saw a snap from Pink at 1 a.m. where it looked like he was like in this garage overseas hostel with like 30 people there, and he said, "Oh, we in it." And there was so many people there, and it looked so late at night. And
I didn't know anybody in the background.
I didn't
we know
either.
a lot of the same people, so I'm looking in the background. I'm like, where is he?
Yeah. So anyway, I ended up getting invited back to this cabin on Le Coudray, and they had like 30
you say yes if you're invited to a cabin on Le Coudray.
Yeah, so they're like, well, you can park at our cabin and then we'll come pick you up in the boat so you don't have to like drive back. I was like, that sounds perfect. Let's do that.
And you met these guys at the bar?
I didn't know any of the people other than this was like Megan, that Megan Dolan's family.
Oh, nice.
Okay,
so I know you
so
guys
there's
know
the
her.
connection. All right.
That was the only person I knew. So because they were like at the bar and I knew that they were up there. So I was just like, hey, are you guys doing anything? And they were like, yeah, we're at this bar. I was like, perfect. Well, I didn't realize everyone at the bar was staying at their cabin, like the entire place. So whatever, I go park my truck there. They come pick me up in the boat, and they had taken like a pontoon boat just like maxed out, and then like a smaller boat to this bar. So I go there with them, and we got pretty hammered at the bar, and then we all took like the boats back to their cabin, and then they had like a pole shed party going on where everyone was like sleeping on the ground.
It looked wild. It looked really wild.
And I don't know. I guess I was fairly tuned up, but like I'm pretty sure the only like liquid they had was like tequila and like cups. And I was like, all right. So so whatever. I made some new friends, I think, and I ended up crashing in the bed of my truck in their driveway, and then I got up at like 7 a.m. and just drove to a lake and went fishing for like 3 hours. And it was rough. It was a rough morning. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
it is.
So it was one of those experiences where like you get to the landing and you back in and you're like, dude, I feel pretty good. Like I can do this. And then like after an hour, it just rapid deceleration.
And then it was like, 90 degrees, and I was like, whew, we're fading. Bad.
You get a stomach ache like you've never had in your life. It's just like hollow, and you're like,
dude, I pulled up on like
this
island.
I feel bad.
I just pulled up on this island and like laid in the water for like 3 hours. and I was like, yeah, we're in it now. But then I met up with some family like the next couple days, and did the Dairyland flowage proud.
Nice.
And did a little boozing, a little floating, got my annual noodle float on. So
very nice.
Yeah.
Dude, those are important.
Solid sunburn.
Hell yeah.
Good fourth.
I love it. Well, good, Pink. Sobi, how about you? You disappeared for a little while. Don't you normally go up with Steph or vanish for a little while over the 4th?
Yeah, the 4th was good. Every year we go up. Her grandparents got like this little chunk of land in Aiken, and it's on like just a tiny little lake. I don't even know if it has a public access. And it's a good time. They've got electricity there, water, and that's about it. We were tent camping, and this lake that she's on is just plumb full of 2.5 to 3 pound bass. I don't know if they get bigger, maybe they don't, but they're just piss piled under the pads, and we just go around in circles in that lake, and we just plop through the pads, 20 to 40 beers deep and just all day. And it's phenomenal. Yeah.
Sounds super fun.
It was good. Yeah. How about you, Hahner?
Oh man. Like, we usually go over to my parents' cabin, which is in Shawano Lake, Shawano, Wisconsin. It's a huge residential, like some fishing goes on, but it's more or less like that. They have huge sandbars and they're packed with like 300 people.
That's sweet.
I basically like booze toured around and like brought my little brother and my younger cousin to the sandbars, like giving them liquid courage, be like, come on. I'm like, look, there's birds over in that one. They're like, yeah, bro, no. I'm like, just go up, be confident. Come on. What's the worst that they're going to say? No. And they're like, yeah, we got this. Yeah, we got this. I'm like, best of luck.
Absolutely rocking. Dude, I seen the Snapchat.
Dude, like, and so I'm waiting, and my sister works at the only bar on the water, which is in the no wake zone.
Hold on, I don't mean to cut you in here. Get over here. We got neighbor Archie that just walked in the garage. Neighbor Archie, tell him hi.
Hey, how's it going?
What up?
Oh my God, this is a
What's going on?
I didn't know you guys could do it. Oh, you guys are amazing. Amazing.
What's on the agenda today, or what happened? Give one story from today.
One story of today. My grandson Carson caught a 30-inch long northern.
Come on.
There we go.
That was the story. The second story is Sam's vacuum cleaner staff killed it. And I want to know more.
Is it dead? For sure dead.
It's dead. So hey, good luck, guys. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks, Archie.
Thank you.
Archie has resurrected a couple of my shop vacs before. And I
think Archie should be in for the weather for the weekend.
Archie should be in for the weather.
I do need a weather forecast. If you guys saw me look outside, all of a sudden I was like, what the hell was that? Like, there's this giant gust of wind and there's lightning everywhere. I'm like, what is going on? Look at the radar and just, Pink, you're about to get smashed too. A huge storm just popped up.
Damn. Well, we're in it now. What are you going to do?
Yep. So if all of a sudden my power goes out or something, I think the stream keeps going. So you guys keep it rolling.
The show goes on.
But it just got rowdy here.
Yeah. It's like crazy over here by us now too. It was blowing like 20 miles per hour and now it's slick calm. I'm like, ooh.
And we're getting rain outside for the first time in a very long
Batten
time.
Down the hatches, boys.
Yeah. It is very green outside, so that's lit. I'm sure Waldo's having a blast right now.
Dude, he's probably on a nader right now.
He might be in the front of my driveway for all I know. But yeah, so my fourth was man, I just kind of hung around. Normally the fourth for me isn't anything too crazy. I feel like the rest of the summer I spend so much time on the water and traveling and everything. Generally around the fourth I kind of stay around home. But this year went to Alyssa's family's, and it was funny because I brought the boat with, obviously. And nobody wanted to go fishing. Everyone just wanted to go fast. So I just got in the boat and we just ripped circles on this little lake. Fast. And there was so many other boats out there. And I was like, whatever. I'm just like bobbing and weaving people. And I'm like, I don't know. Today's the recreational boat day. So
I totally feel like you gotta like do that once in a while where you're like, because you have these plans like, dude, I'm going to fish. I'm going to get all these people and go fishing. And eventually you're just going to be like, dude, we're just going to drive.
Yeah.
Like, that's it.
And it's nice.
It's kind of like, we don't even have to worry about it. Let's just go, like, drive around, not, like, crash into something. I can do that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So we ripped around and did that. Just burned around the lake. But other than that, just kind of low-key hung around, been getting some work done. Took care of the dog while my parents were gone, and nothing crazy. But Hahner. So we got to dive into it's still a little bit of current events, but we need to know. So I got a snap from you while you were gone last week.
Yeah.
And suddenly you were driving across Main Lake of the Woods in your bass boat. And I was like, number one, I was like, I mean, that's like, if it's calm, there's a lot of guys. We'll talk with our guest Gussy about that later. There's a lot of guys that make that run across Lake of the Woods. However, not in your boat.
Right. Well,
right.
Is that still the boat that Sobi helped split open at the Sturgeon Bay Open?
Believe it or not, that is the
war horse.
That is the war horse. That is our gal. Our gal. She's getting thick in the hips, but she is our gal. That is our girl. But yeah, we were up on Lake of the Woods. Actually, it seems like every year we get invited from my dad's suppliers, electrical suppliers, to go and spend a fishing trip. Well, I'm primarily up there because I am a fishing professional. So, and not many of them really fish, so we have to go
What?
find
You're
fish.
an electrician, Cody. We
I
went
know.
through this a few weeks ago.
Yeah. You would think that. And I thought that. But so we were deciding on where to go on Lake of the Woods. And there are certain circumstances with other people in the group that we can only stay on the Minnesota side. DUIs. But so we could only stay on the Minnesota side. And we had a plan to go up to Oak Island, which is like closer to Canada. So if people wanted to go up to Canada, they could. And it was like more sheltered by the wind and more like Canada-esque feeling with all the islands. Well, someone got wind that we were going to have to travel across the entire Great Lake of the lower end of Lake of the Woods, and they did not want to do that. So we decided that we're going to go camp and stage in the Rainy River, even though you're damn right, we're going all the way up there every single day. If you like it or not. So every day, like it was, the first day we pulled out, and I'm like, I don't care. I was kind of like upset that they changed the plan. So I'm like, motherfucker, we going 30 miles today. That's all there is to it.
I want to burn $140 in gas.
We're going.
We're going. Like, I watched an 85-year-old man on Champlain dodge and weave through 5-footers for 75 miles to get down to Ticonderoga. By God, a 55-year-old man could do it. Let's go. And he was like, these have got to be the biggest waves of my life. I'm like, hey, 1.5 and like just pounding through these waves, these big rollers. I'm like, do you want to go walleye fishing? Let's go walleye fishing.
Do you want to go?
Do you want to catch fish or not? And he's like, turn around. And I'm like, what? What's the big deal? He's like, my back. I'm like, all right, let's go not catch fish.
I don't hear you.
Yeah. So so I did turn around. I went down to
Did
the
you
southern
even
end.
make it to the islands?
So
did you make it out of the bay?
So we made it like, I would say, quarter across where I wanted to go. And then we went down to the southern end to like check some of these spots that I was told of. And I'm like, it's Sauger City, like Cigarlo Sauger City. I'm like, they're basically a little perch. I'm like, this ain't straight. This is not fun. This is not fun. This is not Lake of the Woods. And it's like starting to calm down. And my dad's like, let's go over to that beach, take some pictures. I'm like, just getting like welled up inside. Like, we're on Lake of the Woods for the first time in my life. Like, I am ready to explore Lake of the Woods. And I'm like, okay, we're going. We're going. Whether he likes it or not, we're going. And they all get in the boat after going off the beach. And he's like, oh, are you going to graph around these spots? I'm like, yeah, sure, buckle up. Just beeline to Oak Island. I'm like, he's like, where are we going? I'm like, better batten down the hatches.
All the way up.
All the way up. Your line ends here. We're going just a touch north. And yeah, every day after that, like once you get up north, like or at least that week, it was super easy fishing for walleyes. I mean, you graph around and you just see schools of 100 of them, and you can catch your limit within. I mean, it's not difficult. anyone could do it with side imaging. Let's put it that way. Like, but it was super fun. It was always a good time, like fishing with the old man for a few times because I never get to fish with him, and just watching him like sucker set off of a leech into a 15-inch walleye, like slack line. He'll like have his beer in his hand. He's like, "Oh, got a bite." Take a sip. Yep, that was enough time. What? It's like, oh, it was a pike. It was a pike. I'm like, no, Dad. No, Dad. You nicked your line and snap set into a 12-inch sauger so hard that it broke your line. But it was, it was a good time.
All right, I got to know.
Super good time.
So did you determine how many walleyes fit in your live well?
I'm going to say we had 10 people with us. It's quite a few. It's a good old, it's good walleye soup in the Triton.
Harvest.
Cutting throats and like open up the bucket.
Using it as a backboard.
Yeah. And the funny thing is like, the guy that we were going with, he's like, a sales manager for this Viking Electric or whatever, and my dad always thinks it's funny because he can't clean pike very well. He's like, "Oh, got Rich another one," like sneaking into the loves watching him clean them.
Oh my god,
it was a good time. It was a good time. Yeah,
that's sick.
No,
didn't go muskie fishing on Lake of the Woods, but we did a lot of good walleye fishing. It was fun.
We got it should be coming out soon. I spent last September, I spent like 3 days up on Oak Island filming Jean-Paul Tessier fish muskies.
Yeah.
And he's got a little mini documentary coming out on muskie fishing up there soon. Because I just finished editing it recently. And it was cool. Like you said, it's just crazy how different it is. If you've done the ice fishing on the south side, like the moment you get close to the islands or like Oak Island up north, just how much it changes. And like, dude, I swear to God, like JP and some of those guys, they can just rip around up there all off their memory. And
all right,
like,
guys,
dude,
hold on. Time out. I got Will coming in live right now.
Uh-oh.
No way.
Uh-oh.
Can you hear it? Can you hear it?
You guys, I can hear it. Can you guys hear me?
This is Will Stolski.
Yes, we can hear you.
Holy shit. God, good to hear your guys' voice. This is nice. Good to be back. I'm gonna be real quick. I know, is Gussy on yet? When does he come on?
He's not on yet.
Okay.
We got him in like 20 minutes, I think.
Give us the report. Where are you at? What are you doing?
So what's up, dude? Where you at?
I'm parked up on the hill right now. Craig, Montana. Yeah, presently been here for sure. Working, fishing, just real busy. But it's been good. Busy's good. So.
You been clubbing some trude or what?
I wish. I'm starting to get kind of mad at them. Sometimes I want to bonk them, but soon, in about 2 weeks time, I'll be up north. I'll be in Alaska. So then there'll be a lot of bloodshed, and I'm excited.
Hell yes. You still kicking it at the barn or what?
Yeah, still kicking at the barn. Me and Monk, the mule.
Come on.
He's coming around a little bit now. He'll actually come up to me, and I got him some treats. So now he'll come up to me, lets me pet him. I want to ride him. I haven't rode him yet.
What'd you get him for treats?
On the list of things to do.
What are you feeding this mule, dude?
I got him these little treats at the feed store. They're like some sort of apple, something or other, horse treats. Speaking of that, quick story time. So I'm in the feed store, and of course I look out of place. I got on chacos and some sort of sun shirt or whatever. And it's all these cowboys in there, and these two girls walk in. Boys, I'm not shitting you. They were the most beautiful women I've ever seen in my life. They had full chaps on. Cowboy hats. They were so hot, and they
Will, is this because you've been living in a barn for 3 months, or is this like they're actually that beautiful? Like, let's check in on this.
Well, okay, I have barn eyes for sure.
But this is Montana. It's fine.
Northwoods 9s. But
this,
yes, these girls, I'm not kidding you. They were I think the prettiest girls I've ever laid my eyes on. Maybe the only pretty girls I've laid my eyes on in the last few months. But regardless, but I couldn't even muster up the courage to even say a word. I just turned around and walked. I was like, just look at me right now, you know. Yeah, I'm sure they're really impressed by my Chacos tan line. Yeah.
Oh,
oh, great. And Pink.
Yeah,
okay.
So, what's up?
Pink cut out for a hair there, but no, we got your whole story and everything. So the fishing, are you guys catching a bunch, or like you pumped to get up to Alaska, or what's it like up there?
Yeah, fishing's been really good, especially the last couple of days. We've had our water is dropping pretty rapidly, so we're going to get into a really nice fishable flow. It's going to be probably drop down to like 5,500 CFS. We're at the time of this phone call, probably 8,000. So it's going to come down a little bit, and the fishing will be really good. There's less places for them to hide.
What's normal? What's normal is what it'll be in a couple weeks. Is that what it should be? Like, is that normal?
Yeah, we are slightly above average right now. I think normal for this time of year is about 5,900, 5,800, and we're at about 78. Call it 8,000. So just a little bit higher, but it's gonna just make life a lot easier when the water is a little. Well, you guys know, like any river system, when the water is lower, there's kind of less places for them to be.
For sure.
Yeah, definitely. No, that's sick. Will, do you have, there's no way you have a wiki find, but do you have any random fact or anything that you have figured out living in the mountains of Montana? Do you prefer the barn over the tiki we talked about for a long point in time, or where would you rather be right now?
What was the tiki? What was the teepee?
Yeah, the teepee. Yeah, sorry, I put a K in that. That felt a little Hawaiian.
Ultralight teepee. Yeah, the barn is sweet, dude. I got no complaints about the barn. Another kind of new fun thing in my life, sort of a new, I guess this could be a little factoid. I think I don't want to say addicted, but
that means you're addicted.
Yeah, cigarettes kind of starting to play a little bit of a role.
People like those, dude.
On a day-to-day basis.
What brand? What are you?
Marlboro.
What are you cranking on?
I really like Camel Blues. Those are kind of my jam. Really, whatever anybody offers me. I've only bought maybe a pack or two.
But you have bought a pack or two, so you are a smoker now.
Well, I sit out on the porch and I have a beautiful view. I overlook, the Eagle Rock out on the barn, and it's kind of nice just to have a smoke, and a cocktail. Drink a lot of tequila has been my go. Are you guys tequila guys? Anybody tequila guys in here?
You missed Pink's story earlier. He was over the 4th.
Yeah, turns out yes.
There is a rapid. I was talking about this. It's sort of like a bell curve when you're drinking tequila. So the bell curve. You guys are familiar with the bell curve. Yeah. So it's sort of a rapid acceleration to the top once you get to about the 3rd or 4th one, and then you're at the top of the bell curve, but not for very long because it's a rapid plummet off of that.
What brand tequila have you been buying?
I get this stuff. I think it's called Blue Azul. It's kind of a middle shelf. I asked the gal at the liquor store. I said, what's it kind of I don't want to get crazy, but I don't want to be buying, the cheap shit. And so it's about $40 for a 175. And here's a drink recipe for you guys, one that I've been kind of hammering. So tequila, ice, lime juice, and then lime LaCroix. That's it. That's it. Okay.
Sounds good.
Yeah, sounds pretty good.
Wow, that's a lot more ingredients than were in what I was drinking. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, well, it's probably 2 more than what you were drinking. But it's nice. It's a refreshing cocktail. Pairs well with Camel Blues or Marb Golds. But it's tasty. Yeah.
God damn, dude. Wow. I'm just picturing you sitting on this porch right now. I was thinking you're just up there ripping darts, drinking some buckskins.
I think we have a new segment.
I think so.
That's the twisted
What's
drink.
Will drinking?
What's Will smoking?
It's cocktails in Montana right here.
Do you have a rocking chair on the porch, or are you just
beer at 150s?
Yeah, what's you got a rocking chair on this porch? Full wraparound?
No, it's not a full wraparound. It's actually very small. I can barely fit on it because I have a grill on it as well. But it's I have a small straw chair that I sit on.
Come on, just a hay bale, right?
It's probably a pretty sad sight if you rolled up and saw me.
I'm imagining Will standing out at sunset smoking his Camel cigarette, drinking tequila, and he's basically standing on a pallet. That's his porch.
And he's like, God damn, I'm living, boys.
Yeah, life is the best.
Yeah, two pallets together. That's kind of, that's a pretty accurate size representation.
You should have lied.
Yeah, you should have lied. You should have lied.
This super badass huge wraparound. No, but at the barn we're just happy with what we have, and what we can get. Me, the mule, and Ron, the other guy that lives on the property. So I mean, life is good, I guess.
Will, do you think you can get some pictures to Pinkalla so we can get a social media post up, just update on Will, and we'll get some
at least the mule
of your living situation, or just the mule, either or.
I can send some of the mule for sure. I'll send some of the porch. Don't laugh at it too hard. I'll just kind of give you guys I'll send some for sort of like the barn sort of rundown,
Love it.
And potentially like a selfie smoking, like where you're gazing into the distance and it's you in the background.
I don't want to do that because I don't want my mother to know. So but it's just once in a while, just a special smoking treat.
Maybe we'll find these women from the feed store,
I know,
you got to try.
Well, I'm kind of low on treats. I should just go back there and sit there all day long.
If they're wearing chaps, they got to be frequent flyers. They got to be in, 4 or 5 times a week.
Yeah. Well, and then when I was walking out, I saw the pickup that they were getting into. I mean, it was the real deal. 1-ton flatbed. It was serious. So I'm sure that I'd probably look like a clown to them. But oh well.
Invite them back to the barn, dude.
The gesture. I will say, the barn actually, it has some sort of kind of, the barn is kind of working in terms of shit. In a really strange way. I mean, I'm not, absolutely crushing it up here by any stretch of the imagination, but it does have a mystique. Something about it. I think it's kind of a bucket list deal for these girls, sort of like how you were for that sorority girl, Hahner. I think that's what the barn kind of.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that the image of you, the Snapchats I've gotten with the cigarette, I mean, if I was a cowhand girl type person, man, tacos be damned.
That's what
I just love that Hahner knew exactly what he was describing right there.
Exactly.
Yeah, ignore the Chacos. Let's focus on this beautiful red structure behind me. Yeah.
No, Will, that's beautiful. It's great catching up with you. Do you have one question for Gussy? We can take an honorary question for Gussy from you.
Yes, I do have a question for Gussy. Let's see. My question for Gussy. I want you to ask him, what is the worst part about being a Canadian citizen?
Oof.
Great question.
Damn it, Will.
I'm just sort of curious because he spent so much time in America. I just in comparison, like, what's the shitty part about Canada? What sucks? I just want to know that.
Canada.
Okay, I got that written down. I'll try to figure out how to
Confirmed.
work that out.
Yeah,
you don't have to. I think he nailed it.
A much nicer way than I did, but what's the downside about being Canadian? I guess
I like it.
All right, boys. Yeah. Well, it was good to get back on here. Next time you guys report, I'll be in Alaska, but I'm going to try to document a little bit better this summer when I'm up there. I'm trying to take more videos and pictures and stuff. So I'll try to be sending some stuff over to the group chat or whatever. So
right on, dude. Thanks for driving up the hill.
Phenomenal update, Will.
Great to hear from you, William.
Great to hear from you all. We will be in contact at some point.
All right. Let the mule know we said hi.
I will tell Monk the boys say hello. He'll be stoked.
Hell yeah.
All right, later, boys.
Later.
Incredible.
A mule named Monk. Just
Monk's
the
the mule,
best.
bro. He's on.
And then what was his roommate's name? It was
Ron.
It's me, Monk, Ron. Little Dak.
It's Marbros. He's ripping camels. My bad.
Yeah, I just have the whole picture painted in my head right now.
I do. Big sunset.
So yeah. So what we're gonna rip into here real quick, just to move on before our guest gets here, but we got to do a little bit of a fantasy fishing update, and it's good. We should have had Will here for this. He might actually get an exemption. Hahner does not get an exemption.
Okay. I guess.
So, Pink, you might just need to text Will an update on fantasy. But for people that don't know, we're playing Bassmaster Fantasy Fishing. We're going to dive into one of the events that's coming up because I'm not sure if we will get to before we record again. It might literally be the week we record again. It might not. But either way, we're going to dive into it now. And we need to do a little bit of an update. Pink, do you want to tell the people what are we playing for this year? How is it going?
All right. So here's the situation. So we have a big group on fantasy fishing, which is kind of like its own thing. Then within the podcast, we're all competing against each other, basically head to head each tournament. It's not, instead of like points through the whole year, we're getting individual points for each tournament. And whoever does the shittiest has to do a 5K on Thanksgiving.
They have to do the turkey trot.
Easy money.
Hungover, by the way.
Hungover?
They have to be hungover.
And so that's kind of how it's laid out right now. This is going to be a little bit different with Sam coming in / Will
I don't know.
MIA.
The people could comment and say, Sobi, have you been playing fantasy fishing all year or no?
I did right away at the beginning. I'm in this like Rapala group, and then I
those count. Those count.
I did the first 2 tournaments, and then I forgot to set my lineup for the rest.
Like, okay, yes, so you're just like Hahner. So this could spice it up.
This is perfect.
Hahner could have competition now.
Yeah,
let's go. All right, I'm into it.
So essentially, how it's been going is that it's been kind of tight in the middle. I was doing really well. I absolutely shit the bed at the last one.
Yeah, I'm going to dive into this here real quick. So I'm going to the last event. The last event, believe it or not, was forever ago, and it was on the Sabine.
Yes.
Pink was doing so good this year. He actually is still in second in our group.
Yes.
But Pinkalla somehow registered a 6'11" with a full roster.
It stings, bro. It stings.
What?
That is
wow.
611 points.
Oh,
like not good.
That's
not good.
That's actually one of the worst possible scores you can get filling out a full team.
That's like bottom 80 every single one.
Yeah, that's really bad.
No one made the cut. Not one goddamn person.
Who is on your team?
I don't know.
Well,
I will look at it right now because we haven't
I probably should have picked him.
We haven't gotten to rag on Pink all year for his picks, but this is actually impressive. So we had Brandon Cobb in 91st, Jason Christie in 74th, Swindle in 82nd, and then Taku Ito really pulled the team through with a 52nd, and then David Mullins had 81st.
That is the worst fantasy I've ever heard.
This is just...
You might have won some if you were in a different league or doing something that you might have won something big there.
No, Sobi, you need to understand he was 4 in the world heading into that week.
Like number 4 in fantasy fishing. The whole fucking thing.
It's the tequila.
Not so much anymore.
I remember asking him on the pod before. I was like, "Are you feeling the pressure? How you doing?" He's like, "Nah, I'm good. Stone cold." And then he drops a 6'11".
Absolute lemon.
Yeah. So I'm swinging around here for a little redemption. I think I'm feeling really good about my roster for this upcoming one. So
we will. We're going to preview. So the boys are heading to St. Clair soon. So the Northern Swing starts. For people who don't pay attention to Bassmaster, there's always like a 2 or 3 event smallmouth swing towards the end of the year. They're starting to go do it now. Heading to St. Clair, the bag should be really big. I believe the last time they were there was it September? or end of August when
it was
Fighter
late
won.
August.
Yeah, Fighter won it. It was only a 3-dayer. It was the last year they did the championship, from my understanding.
Should it be better now? You think it's going to be way better? Like just weights and bites?
No,
wise,
I think it'll be pretty post Bonnie, is my guess.
Well,
I don't know, Hunter. You've been there before, haven't you?
I have, but the fish were super healthy. Like, we were there at like one of the best tournaments St. Clair's ever seen. So I can't really talk too much. I mean, winning weight was almost 100 pounds.
Wow.
And like the top 3 were all in the top like 97 pounds.
But that MLF that was just there was really high weights.
Yeah.
They averaged like 23 to 24 a day. It was very big.
I mean, like when we were there, it was 26 a day. So I don't. Wow. I mean, I think it'll be I think it's going to be really good. I think what I heard is there's kind of a little bit of a disease that's going on in the lake, like they usually get, where like some years they're super fat, some years they're a little bit thin, some years it's the same fish. It's just how much weight they have on them. And I think this year it's kind of like a middle of the road year.
Gotcha.
So it'll be I think I put down 88.9 to take it all.
Well, you're skipping ahead now. We haven't even done our preview.
Oh, all right. I should have now.
What's the musky situation out in St. Clair right now, Hunter?
No, it's always good. It's just that people haven't been able to fish Canada for so long. And so they got limited to, the typical, most of the musky water is in Canada. Like the good musky water where you hear of 12 fish days, 15 fish days casting. It's all in the places that you catch bass. Like the majority of my bass spots were some of the best musky spots in the lake as well. I mean, I was seeing giants every day chasing bass. So, but it's still going really strong.
Nice.
Gotcha. All right. So we'll now go through kind of our lineups. We'll go through the point setup. We'll need to figure out Sobi's points and I'll have to, reverse calculate everything. But I feel like the people should peer pressure Sam in so that we have some competition in these last 3 between, who will be doing the turkey trot. Sobi didn't know when he was joining this chat, or this podcast, he might be screwed, but points currently sit. After 7 events, Pink has 8 points. He took second at the last event because Hahner and Stolski did not set their lineups.
Which was a massive, massive problem for you guys.
That was huge because if they just would have set, there would have been...
They literally could have picked 5 random people.
Pink could have had a pretty bad end of the year and gotten back into a consideration.
Yeah.
So that kind of sealed it that Pink won't be doing the turkey trot. So Pink's got 8 points. Then in second, I won the last event because I actually had a good week too, but I got first. I have 17 points. And then Stolski and Hahner, I just gave each 3 because they both didn't set them. And Sobi, we do this golf scoring, so it's based off of just like our league for Tuesday nighters. So Stolski's at 21, Hahner's at 23.
All right.
So it's tight. Things could get tight. Yeah. Things can get really tight.
It is very tight between me, Hahner, Stolski, and once we get Sobi in there, it'll actually probably be about the same between Hahner and Stolski because Hahner didn't set his lineup for 3 weeks, but he does have 2 seconds. So
let's go.
We do have that. But now our lineup for St. Clair, I will go through mine first. St. Clair, Group A, I have Jay Shakir at. Group B, I have Austin Felix. Group C, I have Corey Johnston. Group D, I have Josh Douglas. Group E, I have Alex Redwine. A very common theme this time of year is you pick guys from the north and you don't question it. So that's who I got. They all have good history on this body of water. Douglas has almost won there, I believe. He also had some bad stuff happen there. but Douglas does good on St. Clair. So, Pink, who do you got?
All right, I took a different approach here because
well, he can't lose, so he can just swing. He's trying to gain up ground.
Yeah, so I need to pick some deep pocket picks here. So here, this is where I went. I dug in on this one, so don't don't block too much here. So A bucket, I went John Cox. B, I went Seth Fighter. He does well on St. Clair, and I don't think a lot of people are going to pick him. Yeah. So, and I need some people that not everyone picks. So I kind of did the whole, I'm not picking people at the top of the ownership percentage thing. So I did, okay, John Cox, I got Seth Fighter, Jason Christie, Jake Whitaker, and Caleb Kufal.
Oh, that is an interesting lineup for
sure. Very interesting roster. That's some shallow water bangers out on St. Clair. I know Cox has done really well up in. Is that the river up there, Hahner, on the north end?
Yeah, that's going up to Huron.
Didn't he do good there, and he didn't even practice?
Yeah. No. Cox did well there one time, and then Sturgeon Bay Open, or not the Sturgeon Bay Open, but the MLF Championship. He had never fished it, never had any info, and he almost won the fucking thing out of the little river in Sturgeon Bay. And I'm like, we're so stupid.
You guys are doing the perfect drifts on the main lake. He's like, look at this.
Dialed in, wacky rig under a boat dock. Oh, I got another one.
All right, Sobi, who do you got?
I don't have a lineup picked at all. I'm
hearing of this.
I'm hearing of this now.
You didn't read the text.
All right, okay, go on Bassmaster Fantasy right now. You got
you have
5 seconds.
Yeah, you got time. Dude. You got the time. We can buy the time. Hahner, what's your lineup?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Here we go. So I thought about doing John Cox. Just for that reason, how he could find, something in the river that people are going to ignore. But I did choose to go with Stetson Blaylock over his FLW career out on that lake in general. He's really good out there.
Stetson always catches him on a crank out there.
Loves throwing a crankbait. Yep. He always catches him on a crankbait out there. And that's like a staple. Like 5XD, like those type baits that get down like 15 feet are perfect out there, and he's really good at it. We're going with B. So I was deciding between a couple people, but I chose Austin Felix as well. He has not only a lot of experience, he also has my waypoints from out there still probably locked into his graph, so he should be fine.
From years ago. That is not... That we can't get him in trouble. That is from a long time ago.
I gave him information from like 5 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
It's enough.
He's like, he called me during it. It's fine.
You did? Yeah, I didn't care. But no, he's good with smallmouth and like that flats type fishing, but like deeper flats type fishing. He's really good at it, like meandering around, and he's a sleepy assassin.
He's just always around him.
Yeah,
he really is.
Yeah, and that type of fishing he's really good at. Bucket C, I got Jason Christie. I think he's been probably a wreck trying to get back to his home place for the Bassmaster Classic, but he's also won there twice, actually.
Really?
Yep, he won an Open to get to the Elite Series, and he won an Elite Series event out on St. Clair.
I didn't know that at all. I did not know that.
He won at the mouth of the river, cracking a tube, and the tube was up in the top 5 feet of the water column, is what he was saying. Like the fish were sitting up super high, which a lot of people missed in this little spot. And then the other one, he was like one of the first times live scope was actually introduced, and he caught him doing that, and he beat Jordan Lee by like a few pounds that tournament. So bucket C, Jason Christie. Bucket D, I got Taco Ito, because he is just a smallmouth hammer for some reason. Got to put my faith in some Japanese guy.
Plus everybody else picked him so far. So
Got to. I gotta have one big bucket.
37%, dude.
Gotta have one big bucket. Gotta have one big bucket. Okay, Mr. 0.2%.
What is this about, dude?
Groupie.
I'm gonna be sleeping on Thanksgiving.
Groupie. Alex Redwine. I'm going with him. Roomed with him many times. He's talked about how much he likes St. Clair and Lake Erie. I feel a big run from him going to Lake Erie. He's from
that area, isn't he? That's why I picked him too. Yeah.
Yeah, he's from the Ohio River. Grew up there, grew up fishing Erie. Very good at Erie. That's kind of where he cut his cloth. And I think this is gonna be his little bit of shining moment. I think he's gonna have a solid top 10 finish at this event. And that is my bucket.
Damn.
Right, so
better follow it. You better.
So did you put something together at the last minute?
No, I haven't. I've just been listening. I don't want to jump in on this.
Picks is what he's doing.
I'm just listening. I honestly, I kind of think I like Adams and Hahner's a lot. I feel like those are like par shots though, but I like Ryan's a lot because it's either
take par.
Hero or zero. You know what I mean? Like Ryan will either move back up to top 4 in the world or he's going to get 6'11" again.
71's a pretty good score.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's good. Well, Sobi, I just hope everyone's got a comment and just rag on Sobi. So Sobi is in for the turkey trot. We'll see. Actually, so we got our guest here. We'll see. We got good old Gussy joining us. Gussy, I think you'll like this. So we're doing fantasy fishing this year, and the loser of our group, we don't really care about the winner. The loser has to run the turkey trot, and they have to prove to us they're hungover that morning.
You better not lose.
Have you ever done a 5K yourself?
Who,
me or Adam?
No, Gussy, because I
can outrun Adam for sure, you guys.
I know that. That's how fast he walked up those stairs at Knoxville.
We need to have a race. Let's do a race. Can we get that lined up?
No, we're getting
I don't know.
An international falls.
I'm probably done with racing, but I could beat Adam. That's all I'm saying.
That's so easy. Everybody who went to high school with me knows that. I was the slowest person. But no, that's good. So we got Gussy joining us. Nice to see you, dude. How are you?
Good, boys. No, pretty good. I caught the tail end of your picks there. It looked like you guys were really getting creative, picking Taku.
Sorry, Gus.
That's all right. That's a good stash you got, Cody. I haven't seen you in a while, but we've been buddies for a long time. And,
oh my God, it's been a long time.
I was gonna say you guys were on the tour together, correct?
Yep.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie to you. This stash. So I got to be a best man at this last wedding this weekend. So I'm fucking friveting, like trying to find a place to get my hair cut. And the first place, fantastic.
It must be nice
Sam.
to have hair.
Right. Yeah. Well,
yeah.
I can't wear a hat. Yeah.
I know.
But anyway, so I go to my first place, local stop, Fantastic Sam, some bargain brand, whatever, booked.
Oh.
Cutco, booked. I'm like, oh man, the bride's gonna be so mad at me because I grow like a serious rat tail back here if I don't get a cut. And I'm like, oh, this is not looking good. Go to the next place, the barber shop, which is like the standby, booked. I'm like, fuck me. I find this little hole in the wall place, and this lady, she's like, yeah, see me at 12:30. Cuts me up, and I'm like, and it's super fancy. I'm like, this is gonna be so much money for a goddamn like little light cut. She's like, at the end of it, she's like, do you want your mustache trimmed up? I'm like, I don't know how to do that myself. Yes, please. Trims up my mustache. At the end of it, she's like, oh, do you want a beer to go? I'm like, nah, that's good, man. She's like, no, yeah, take a beer. You can go for the road. I'm like, do you have a business card? She's like, yeah, it'll be $22. I'm like, $22 for a beer?
A haircut and a roadie?
A mustache trim and a cut?
Yeah.
Where was this at? Was this way up north or where?
No, don't tell anyone.
Okay.
Keep that down.
Yeah. Got to keep the prices low.
The dirty saw. I love it.
That's great. But no, Gussy, so back in the Northwoods now, I suppose. Has it been fun playing around back on the home pond for a while? You've been able to get out a little bit on Lake of the Woods?
Yeah, no, I've been fishing a bunch. I actually have been guiding like a crazy person and booked a bunch of guide trips at Christmas time, and it's been fine, but I've been kind of going hard. Fished a tournament this weekend, local tournament, and got my ass handed to me. So yeah, no good. Didn't even get in the money.
That was gonna be one of my questions. I was like, maybe I need to butter him up first, but I was gonna be like, so like, how does it feel just getting smashed back on one of your favorite bodies of water when you get back home?
Oh yeah, there was a bunch of young guys in it too that I'm sure they were fired up. But
oh god,
yeah, no, hey, it's one that I've fished since I was like 13 years old. It's been going on since like the early 90s. Shoal Lake, so it's a lake that's connected to Lake of the Woods. Pretty good fishing, and like the mayflies just kind of finished. I don't know. It's just like that weird. The weights were pretty low because they'll have another one out there like later in September, and they'll be 20-pound bags. But it took 33 pounds and a little bit to win for 2 days, and my partner and I fished with my neighbor, and we had 14.7 and 14.5, very mediocre. And yeah, that's the way she goes sometimes. We've won it a few times, and but 2 years in a row out of the money. Last year we sucked too, and I think we were like top 2 or 3 like 5 years in a row before that. So it's one of those like fish there my whole life. So yeah, you know, you have a lot of memories. Yeah, and it's either going to work out or it's not, and it did not.
Yeah. Well, and like you said, I saw the post afterwards. There's a ton of young guys in the top end of the leaderboard. Like, what's, I guess, the status of like Canadian bass fishing up by you guys? You got a ton of young guys showing up now too to everything, or is that just kind of new, or what's going on?
Yeah, no, we do. We have some good tournaments up here. You know, they're all pretty much all community run. You know, $400 to $800 entry fees, and you know, 50 to 100 and low 100 boats. So they're pretty good events, and yeah, a lot of people up here, you know, just like where you guys all live, love bass fishing and just fishing in general, right? Like you better like it if you live up where I do. And so yeah, no, there's a lot of good anglers, and just like kind of out on the big tours, you know, like these young guys are jump into it, and they're already like, they know how to use all the electronics and know how to fish. So it's they're competitive, and sometimes it's like, it's good having that fresh perspective. Like, I'm sure I would have done it. I said to my partner, I'm like, you know, I can't drive by like some of these places where we've caught so many fish in the past and not fish them, and then you just burn your day up. But like, I told him if we didn't know all these things out here, we would probably, you know, fish the conditions a lot more, and probably would have done better. But
had a lot more fresh mind.
Yeah. Do you guys have, like, I know Cooper Gallant obviously comes from out more Eastern Canada. Do you guys have like a young guy up in your area that like we need to watch out for that's coming up? Is there anyone kind of in that area you can think of?
Well, like, and he's young. He's like 6 or 7 years younger than me, but Jamie Bruce is fishing all the opens this year.
Yeah.
Doing well. He's hanging in there. So he's gonna have a pretty good chance to make it. He's real good fisherman. I mean, not only for bass, but a variety of species. Ian Waterer, Matai Demers have been winning some tournaments the last few years. They're young guys that are pretty good. But yeah, there's a bunch of good anglers up here.
Well, yeah, and you brought up those Canadian tournaments. I'm just like so intrigued by, you got Fort Francis is next week, right?
Yeah.
So I've chatted with James Chapman. I've chatted with Chappie about it, and like the Ravelings and Capras, all these guys talk about what Fort Francis. I think it's kind of gone down a little bit from what it used to be, if I understand. But like,
yeah, so I've been going to it since 2000. I was like 17 or 18 the first time I went, and it's a big part of my summer. It has been ever since. One of the highlights of the summer for me. Beautiful lake, pretty good fishing. And yeah, when I started fishing the tournament, I actually got in off a waiting list. They used to have they'd let 135 teams sign up, I think, and then have 50, 70 teams on the waiting list for a few years. And then, I don't know, one of those things, like a lot of the, probably half the field back then was Minnesota teams, and just, a lot of guys from the cities would come up, and it's just a vacation getaway going to, Cody's been up there a bunch of times. Yeah. You can go fish on that lake all day and hardly see anybody, and fishing's good. And then I think in the early years, those guys would come up and do well. And then as I think more of the locals started learning the lake and learning how to bass fish, because before the tournament started up here, no one bass fished. It was all fish for walleyes and maybe lake trout and pike a bit, muskies a bit. But as the locals kind of got more competitive, they'd start taking more of the checks. And you only fish tournaments so many times. If you don't win anything, you're probably gonna find another one to go to or do something else, or the wife's gonna tell you, yeah, no. You had 5 chances there. Done.
All I hear about is your stories at the bar and everything every night of the tournament. How come we ain't bringing any money home? That's what they're always asking, right?
Yeah. And obviously it's different now. Even everyone's kind of more competitive, and on the Elite Series, there's a few guys that'll go out a little bit, but it's pretty serious. But back in the day at that tournament when I was 18, 19, I'd go there for the week. I wouldn't be in that hotel room once the whole week before. And then, I'm not kidding you. It was the highest consumption of beer, for Labatt's, that's the big beer company up here. They used to have an ad. It was the highest consumption of beer over a weekend event up next to the Calgary Stampede in Canada.
That's incredible.
I like that they're monitoring
night, bands every night. It was just a full week. It would start on Monday and go right till Saturday, and big huge party, and that's why it was just it was so fun back in the day. And we everyone had a good time, and it's still they'll have a pretty good party on Saturday night, but it's not it's not as crazy as it used to be.
We need to get our hooligans back up there. Round up Hahner. I can get the boys from Minnesota up. We'll revive it. We'll get it going again. Paul Newman was telling me a bunch of stories from
he was coming. I for sure was out doing with that guy back in the day. Yeah,
degenerate stuff.
Are you still out there letting them rip with the boys, or what?
Oh yeah, I will. I'll I'm easily corrupted.
You hang out. I feel like you hang out with a crowd sometimes too. That's easily. They're like, yeah, we'll get them. Get them to go out. Yeah.
So is it
back when I started fishing tournaments, and when I was really getting into it, when I was 17, 18, 20, all the guys up here, the best anglers that I kind of looked up to, that was part of it. You had to go, if you went out at night, you had to show up the next morning and man up and kind of fish. And just people don't really do that anymore now.
No.
And but that was part of the tournament experience, when we were growing up.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the same for you guys, but a lot of the Minnesota guys that came up there, they all were participants as well. So it was a good time.
Yeah, I think we always talk about after team trail events, the fishing and everything's super fun, but we have so many stories from at the cabin or at the bars in town and everything. We stay with the same crew all the time, roll with the same crew, and do it just because it's it's so much fun. And it would be hard for me to stop fishing Minnesota or local tournaments in the summer, even if you someday, make the Elite Series or whatever, just because you're those are the best 5 weeks of my year. I'm so excited for them every time.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm going to fish that Rainy Lake one next week. roll to St. Clair right after. And then I'm going to miss a few in August up here. And then I think there's one every weekend in September into early October. So, yeah, I live for doing that. And yeah, it's competitive up here. I don't get to fish as much as I'd like, pre-fishing and scouting around. So I always get in a couple days. So I'm not making that excuse, but it's competitive, and yeah, these guys are. It's hard to win any of the events up here. That's for sure.
For sure. We'll dive into some other stuff here in a sec, but I'm curious. I've heard is Rainy still like a big smelt deal, or has that kind of died off like some of the northern Minnesota stuff has, and they've gone a little shallow? But
yeah, I think when those smelt get in the lakes, like they explode and everything eats them. It changes the fishery, the dynamic a little bit. And what happened at Rainy is all of a sudden you just had this crazy like offshore bite in the North Arm all summer. And I think that there's still smelt, but not to where like a lot of fish still stay shallow. A lot of fish still eat crayfish. They're there, but that seems like that happened after in Lake of the Woods, and it's happened on the Shoal Lake. It just seems like that's just I think a lot of invasive species do that when they first sort of hit, they, go nuts, and then they sort of level off a little bit.
Yeah. And I know that happened in Pinkalla up by Grand Rapids too.
Have you found that? Do you fish much in Ash Bay, Gussy?
I did.
Way up there?
I did back in the day. My dad used to like religiously fish in there. He fished the tournament for many years too. And honestly, in the last 10 years, I think I've been in the North Arm one day. I always fish in the South Arm. And that's just where I've sort of put my time in. But for the first like 10 years I fished the lake, I fished religiously like Northwest Bay, Alexandria, Ash Bay.
Yep. Yeah, because that's kind of where Lake Despair Lodge, Bill, kind of like pushed me to go. He's like, oh yeah, go check out Ash. Go check out Ash. I'm like, all right, I'll go side image around. And that was always the best walleye fishing when we'd go up there. It was nuts. Tons of smelt.
Gussy, just because I know we have quite a few Minnesota bass guys that listen to this, I've been banging the drum of trying to get a team trail event up to Rainy. You and I have talked about it a bit, doing the American side only. If we did that, can you tell people it wouldn't suck? Because everyone tells me it would suck. And I know we've talked about it. And we're like, it'd be a good event. Like, you don't have to go straight over to Canada.
No, I mean, if you compare it to like Leech Lake or Mille Lacs, you're not seeing the same number of giant fish. But it's a good place to have a tournament because it's huge and people can do off the wall stuff. You can go fish all day and not see anybody. Right. And there's still the weights across the board wouldn't be as high as if you could go to Canada, but the top end would still be, it would take in a 1-day tournament. I mean, it would take 19 or 20 pounds to win most days, unless, the weather was really bad or something, but there's still, some big fish, but it's not as good. And not because it gets fished way hard or anything. I think just not quite as much good as good habitat as there is on the Canadian side. Just maybe not as many of the good spawning bays, not having that southern exposure and stuff. But yeah, it's a good place I fished quite a few tournaments on the US side, and yeah, it was never as good. But now like the mapping's so good for that lake, and yeah, you could go do it.
I like that you're being nice about it. You're like, it's dust, but like
I was laughing at Ryan. It's like not nearly as good, but yeah,
it's like it's not great, but like you could.
Hey, I would rather I'd rather fish a tournament where I could not see a million boats around all day than go to the best fishing and have like 50 boats within sight of you all day.
That is true.
For sure. Coming from Sobi, who just fished his first Champions Tour on Big Stone, where they all live on the bank basically that time of year. So you're just hop, skipping, and jumping for 27 miles. It doesn't fish that big, right, Sobi?
No, not at all. No, like you said, it's just nice to have a place where you can spread out and not see people. Like, it's just, in whether you're fishing tournament or not, like, it's just nice to go fishing and not be on top of people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you did pretty good in that, hey?
Yeah, it was cool. It was a cool experience. I never fished that format before, but yeah, I'm excited to kind of see see what the rest of it plays out to be.
Back in the day, Bonamo was one of the ringleaders on the nighttime activities.
I could see that for
sure. Him and Fisher had the nicest hair in Canada, and they let her rip. Yeah.
Was that before it was silver?
Gus, you ever fish any of those type of tournaments where it's like instead of a 5-fish deal? You ever done the like catch weight?
No, I never have. No, I never have. I like the problem. I'd love to come and fish those Champions Tour events, but it's just like so hard. I'm gone half the year, and that's the part of the job that's not glamorous. I mean, all you guys are traveling all the time too, so you know what it's like. But yeah, it's just tough to do everything. And then, I love living up here where I do, and summer's so short, and you fish some of these tournaments, and then you can only do so much. But I follow it, and it would be fun. I'd like to try one of those for sure. I mean, I think some lakes it would suit my style, and some lakes I'd probably take some beatings because I do like to fish offshore, and maybe up north you can do that a little more than down south, but it seems like the bank beaters, unless it's like a full smallmouth tournament or something, the bank beaters are hard to beat.
It'd be cool if we could get it for like some of the full-time pros. I mean, I know Moyna makes it back, but we all know Moyna just like fishes every day anyways, so he's going to be there no matter what. But it'd be cool if we could get it for like guys like you, Fighter, and Felix, Downey, Josh, you name it. Like they can come hop in one and go do it because it'd just be fun. All the guys like when they show up, and you guys
can chirp us when you beat us or what?
Absolutely. That's the only reason you're there.
I'm just in the back of the boat telling you you're about to lose the lead. That's all I do the whole event.
Kind of thinking about that format, I was wondering, you think they'd ever do that for walleye fishing? Just because walleye tournaments seem like so catch and kill, Not like I'm a huge proponent of not killing walleyes. I love to harvest, but like, I think that would be a way to do it where you're not just killing so many walleyes.
Well, who wants to eat a walleye over 20 inches, right? Like,
yeah,
I don't know. Like
apparently everybody
a few years ago, Corey Johnson showed where I'm staying in a cabin with them and Fighter and Chris Grow, and Corey shows up and like good gesture and everything, but shows up with like an 8-pounder and a 6-pounder one night at practice. Like
oh my god!
And then he doesn't know how to clean them, so I'm like, I watched that.
You didn't even know how to clean them?
I don't know. I'm sure
he was chirping at me one drunk night. He's like, "Bro, I'm the best walleye fisherman, probably like that side of Ontario. Like, I know how to catch walleyes."
He probably does, but he doesn't want to clean them. So they're the easiest fish there is to clean. And yeah, so I cleaned them up. And then I ended up just like carving the fillets in half because they were like a big steak.
Yeah.
And, we just battered them up, and like those two huge fish like fed all of us. And then I think we had enough for lunch the next day too. Like, those guys were all like, "Oh, it's so good, Gus." And
no, Sam, they do catch and release on Green Bay. They have a couple really big tournaments where it's those weigh release tournaments, and they're really sweet. They're like super popular out on the bay.
That's badass. I like that. Just
you know what? Actually, they're doing up. They just had a big tournament on Lake of the Woods in Kenora, a big walleye tournament this weekend, and the way they're doing it in some of the walleye tournaments now, the big fish they measure them, let them go, get a picture or whatever, and then they just assign a 28 and a quarter weighs so much, a 29 weighs so much.
Yeah.
So, and then this particular event was one big one each day, and then 3 under 18, and you had to bring those ones into weigh. So that's good because like the small ones are fine in a live well, but those big like 28, 30 inches, they don't do very good in the live well. They're mostly not making it probably.
Like out in Lake of the Woods, at least what I saw, because we went out there, we had a trip out there. I didn't get to muskie fish, but we were on the southern end, and there's a bazillion, like 15 to 18-inch walleyes out there.
Yeah,
like millions of them, millions and millions of them. Like can't catch all of them. So I mean, that's probably good for the fishery to take a few out here and there.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
And that is why we have ice season.
Yeah, they got during the ice season up here.
Delete some of those fish.
Oh, for sure. Well, Pink, I know you probably want to get into this a little bit, and Gussy, we can chat fishing forever, but a little bit of hunting stuff. I am not the hunting guy. Pink is more of the hunting guy here. So what do you got, Pink?
I just wanted to get into it because, I mean, I did a little looking around, and I got some questions because I see you got this like Gustafson Outdoors page that you've been running.
Yeah.
And you guys
I made that one in like 2009, and I think I changed the font color once, but
it's still
modern website.
It's still out there.
My website.
Yeah. No, I think it's sick. But like, I was just scrolling through some of your pictures and stuff, and it looks like you guys really get after it in the fall, like in November, probably.
Yeah. Like in the early 2000s, the deer just like exploded up here. And I think I did my first guide trip when I was like in 2005. Like I had some fishing buddies and they wanted to come up and go deer hunting. And one of them shot a 190.
Wow.
One of the biggest ones that like the biggest one I've ever been part of. Like, oh yeah, this is easy. And then it was really good till like 2012. And then we had a few bad winters. The wolves just exploded too, kind of because there were so many deer. And I haven't been doing it the last few years. Our deer, I mean, if I went out on the lake 10 years ago or 15 years ago for an afternoon, you'd see 20 deer every day. Every hillside, there'd be a couple does standing on it. You might see a big buck swimming to an island. I mean, they're just all over the place. And like in the last 2 years, I've seen maybe 2 deer out on the lake. Like the farther in town, we still have them. But man,
that's what I was going to ask you. Is town still crazy? Because last time I was there, like bouncing around some of the bars, like at midnight or even during the day, like there's deer everywhere. You could pet the deer.
Yeah, no, there is. It's not as crazy, but yeah, like there's been some famous town deer that, people are feeding and petting and
it's
crazy. So, I love it. I love the guiding and that. I would do it for like 5 weeks and I'd hunt a bit, but
where were you doing this?
Just running the trail cameras, and we were allowed to bait up here, so running bait around and setting up blinds and stands and just all that part of it, right? Like I'd have a buddy or two help me out, and we had a lot of fun with it over the years. But it'll come around again at some point. But
yeah, I remember you showing me pictures back in like 2019, 2020. We were talking about deer hunting and like your areas compared to like northern Wisconsin. If they're similar or not. And still like your deer up there were much more healthy than what we had up in like the Minocqua, like northern Wisconsin regions. Like you had way more better.
It's pictures. All the corn piles did.
Oh, dude, we had there were fields growing where we had it too. So it wasn't the same.
Yeah, no, like the genetics are here. A lot of big chocolate, dark, heavy horns.
Yeah, big.
Real like your dream Canada deer kind of.
Right.
So yeah, it was good. It was fun, but yeah, it's tough right now. You could go and like for myself, I could go set some stuff up and find a deer to hunt, but you couldn't. It wouldn't be like I wouldn't feel right like charging people to come and
Yeah.
You could literally sit for a week and maybe not even see deer at all. Like that's how tough it is. But
yeah.
Is the same deal there where it's like, is the wolf thing super controversial, like around where you're at?
No, because no one hunts for them up here, and you can, but it's just like big bush. So it's what I started like around 2012. Every other day, guys are seeing wolves or hearing them howling, like they're just thick. And I started doing that in January. I'd take guys wolf hunting, and then that turned into a pretty busy little operation. Maybe around 2010, I started doing that. So we did that, and then kind of when COVID hit, no one could come. So then I haven't really got it going again now the last few years. But
straight up, people are super butthurt about wolf hunting down here.
Yeah, I follow it. I follow it. But yeah, they're smart, man. Like you can't even really put a dent into them hunting them because so we bait them up here. We're allowed to bait them too. That's how we'd hunt. Freeze, like the best would be a roadkill deer, And I'd like drill 2 holes and then jam the front legs in a hole in the back. You got to freeze it.
I love that this is dialed, dude.
And,
This is incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and that's what you gotta freeze it in the ice. But we'd get like, all my buddies, I'd get all their deer and moose scraps, and just that's the hardest part would just be getting enough bait. But like back in the day, especially when we had a lot of deer, it wasn't that hard. But that was towards the end when I was doing that, it was just hard to get bait. So
yeah.
Did you ever get any big ones?
Just too smart.
Wolves, they're never as big as like the guys would always want to weigh them, and they're never like a big male. The biggest one we got, I want to say, was like 125 pounds, I think. But like
that's still a big one.
That's so big.
Most of them are like 80, 90 pounds, and but like they got big long legs and big feet, big head. But they never weigh. But they'll like you skin one, and there's not a single bit of fat on them. I mean, they're just always moving. And that's why when they get these deer on the ice, the deer is toast because they could outrun them for miles. And if they stay in the woods or the bush, like they have a chance at least. But they just
that's why they all end up in town.
Yeah.
Would you bait like weeks or weekends in advance, or would they get smart?
No, like I used to do it like 2 weeks before, but the best is when you want to catch them hunting when they sort of first get on it.
Yeah.
And then they'll come back to them, but it's just never as like. So what would happen is they'd get on these baits, they'd find them, and then for 2 days they would be there lots. Like they'd probably just stay up on the hill and watch it, and then I'd run cameras on them so you'd have an idea, and then you wouldn't get them. Sometimes they'd be maybe 3 or 4 days, 5 days. You wouldn't see a picture of one, and then they'd be back again for a bit. So they're obviously like making some kind of circuit. You'd sometimes get like a single one that maybe got kicked out of the pack, but they'd usually be mangy and kind of sucky. So that's what I would tell these guys. Like, make sure you look, if it's just one by themselves, make sure that you like check out their tail, because you don't want to shoot a mangy wolf. They're and, there was a few of those. So usually if a whole pack, like I had a few guys like had packs of like 10 come out on the ice at the same time. So
that's intense.
Cool. That'd be wild.
Yeah.
So, go ahead, Honor.
No, I was gonna say like they've always been like seemed to me as one of like the smartest animals. Like, do you find that to be so? Like, because you've hunted them a bunch, seems like no one sees them, but they're around, and they're always in the shadows, but they're always like calling each other. They seem to have their own like respective language, and
for sure,
they just seem to be super smart hunters.
So like usually when you shot one off a bait, it was done. And I had a few like spots obviously that I really liked, so you'd keep them going. And eventually maybe another pack would find it, or you'd come around again. But even if you shot at one and missed, like they just knew. Usually if you started shooting them, you wouldn't see them on those spots again. No, they're smart. And then the other thing is you got to have birds on the bait too. So like at first I was like, whatever. One time I was dropping this guy off at like late, like 8 o'clock. Like usually you want to get him in the blind, like well before it gets light out. And for whatever reason, maybe I had to take a couple guys, or it could have been, I can remember taking people, dude, and it was like legit, like minus 35.
Yeah.
And
I'm sure you were so excited to take guys out those days.
Oh yeah. Well, I didn't care. I just bundle up, take them out of my snowmobile, then come back to the house.
He's like, you're for sure gonna get one today, for sure.
I'll be back at dark, boys.
Good luck.
But if I can remember this one time, I took this guy in at like 8 o'clock, and we spooked all these birds off the bait, and like, whatever, they'll be back to it in like 2 minutes. And that guy said those freaking birds just sat in the trees all day. They didn't go touch the bait. Like they knew.
Really?
And that's one thing I've learned is if there was to be no birds on those baits, there's no chance a wolf will come out and check it out even.
Really?
Yeah. It's like they know those birds are like their safety thing. So that's what I would always tell these guys.
Well,
like,
I suppose it's multiple eyes.
spook the birds.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
That's crazy. You so what got you into the like shed hunting stuff? It sounded like that was pretty big for a while.
Yeah,
right?
so I probably like that more than actually hunting too. And just good April activity. But yeah, I just had some guys that were really into it when I started, and they kind of, because we'd like when I started doing the guiding thing, we would actually, there was a lot of, like I said, a lot of deer. It was really good. And we'd actually, if it was a calm day, that first 2 weeks in November, I would take a guy and we would go rattle, like just get on, park the boat or the truck, whatever, and get on a ridge where you could walk for, a mile or something. And we would rattle and got a bunch of them doing that. Pretty fun. But we'd find a lot of sheds doing that. And then these guys were like, oh, we got to come shed. We got to do this shed hunting thing. And yeah, got into that. And yeah, found, I don't know how many I found, like way over 1,000. But I had days.
Really?
Jesus.
Wow. You got any absolute just magnums or?
Hang on, I got a couple.
Pull a couple out. Let's go.
Show and tell. Show and tell.
Bone zone. Let's go. Yeah.
I love how chocolatey they are.
I love that he's looking at. He's like, yeah, I got a couple laying around.
Yeah, man. I mean, I got a couple.
I got a couple thousand, so I'll find them. He's gonna flex so hard. Oh my God, here we go.
Especially for you guys who are like, I shed hunt all spring and I maybe find 6.
He's digging through a bone pile right now. I'm not even.
If you're not watching on YouTube,
rambling,
yeah, I know. Yeah, it's
right.
not like he just had it on a shelf. It's like,
just like juggling like hooks going on, just like
gotta blow the dust off.
It's like the first time someone's showing you.
Come on!
Oh, come on! Come on! Oh my God!
This is just what I scraped off the floor.
So
God, dude, what is that?
Yeah, it's like not a real big one, but pretty cool.
That is sick.
Wow.
All pomaded out, dude.
Really,
if you're not watching
that's
this on YouTube, get on it.
Maybe a bit of moose action in that.
Some
That's probably
hybrid.
the biggest fresh one that I've got. It's like a 70.
Oh my
God.
I think.
That is sick.
Long
It's still got a
beam.
ton of good color too.
Yeah,
Dude,
that was a nice one.
Long
Look at
beams.
the base.
This one, like, that's old, but that was a lot of the big ones. Had a lot of that
Oh yeah, it's chalk, dude. Just jump.
Look how thick he is toward the top end, Ryan.
Dude, it's like bladed out. That's
Yeah,
weird.
yeah.
And that was the other nice thing. Shed hunting up here is like you could see it got chewed a little bit, but like some of these things would sit out there for 5 years, and that's why you'd find so many. So that made it more fun too. Like you'd always find lots of old ones.
Yeah.
Like I had days where I literally left piles like 4 feet high on some of these hills because you couldn't carry them all out.
Come on.
Yeah, dude.
You get to see any of these like on the hoof or anything?
I mean, like the guys killed quite a few, like 150, 160s, a few bigger ones, but lots of lots of nice ones. That's a heavy.
Dude, that's a heavy
God, the
palmated.
mass is just sick.
Yeah, so palmated.
This one I thought I grabbed them both. That's a big set that I found. That's like a 170.
Oh!
Were they close by each other?
Like just literally laying on the rocks.
Oh my God.
Oh
This
my
is a different,
gosh.
not part of that one, but that's a big giant 8-pointer. I think that's like a 13-inch V2 or V3. But
We should bounce up there,
He's
Ryan.
picking up piles.
this is the 190 that the
Fuck
guy
off, Sam.
got. So the spring after that, this was the shed from 2 years before. So when he shot it, I mean, these were all like a little bit bigger and
I saw that picture of that buck actually.
yeah,
look at
it's
these
on my
bases.
website and stuff. But that was just
God
like
damn.
massive, and look at all this crap down here. Like, yeah.
So do you get like
2,
psyched
4,
walking up on that, or
6,
you're just
8,
like, oh, it's
9.
another one?
Oh yeah, and like when they're white looking like this, they look like way bigger than usually you pick it up.
Oh yeah, because it's so small. You know, ground shrinkage, right?
That's
so
incredible.
awesome.
That's sick.
Yeah, I know. Had a lot of fun with the shed hunting, and so yeah. Hopefully the deer will kind of make a comeback. I'm sure they will. Like I think talking to
eventually.
like some old timers and stuff. We've gone through a few of these cycles before, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
You ever have any like interest in like hunting in the States at all, or like doing any of the stuff out west? Or have you done that?
no, I haven't. Yeah, no. I mean, I'm sure I will at some point. It's just like
you don't have time.
My whole life, we've always just had so much hunting around here. So I'd get, and I need to make money. So you gotta, I didn't have a real job. So you just try and like make hay at different times of the year whenever you could to like kind of support the tournament fishing and just avoid having to get a real job. So,
so do you have a bunch of buddies that dish you like some moose meat or what's
buddies. Well, we do a moose trip every year. I got like 7 or 8 friends and we've been doing this for like 20 years. We go about 3 hours north of here. We don't have a lot of moose around Lake of the Woods. Like there's a few, but they don't. When I was a kid, you could hunt around here still, but there's not much for hunting options. So we go a few hours north. There's lots of moose, and we always go the last week of the season. It goes till December 15th. So we take snowmobiles and rip around on a lot of the old like logging roads and stuff. And it's super fun. It's cold. It can be really cold, but that's when the moose are out like on their feet moving around a lot more too. So it's kind of usually if it's warm, the hunting's never as good. So but it's warm on the snowmobiles. You got to just dress up, and then we'd have a little group. So like we would, over the years you find little zones that are good, and then we would usually the ice is just sort of good enough at that time when we can get, some years we can't, but usually we can get out on the ice and we'd push some islands, push some peninsulas. And that's kind of how we do it. So it's more of a social, it's kind of a meat hunt. We've gotten a few big bulls.
Sounds like a good old fashioned Wisconsin drive.
Got to get a big drive going, boys.
Yeah. It's so fun.
That does sound fun.
So imagine driving moose. Like, I just jumped a freaking moose.
Shooting's about to go, dude.
Like, if you get a big bull coming, like they just can't be quiet because they're just crashing off everything. And like you hear that coming and you're on stand, you're like,
it's so freaking sweet.
Oh yeah, but like some of those cows, especially like if they have a calf with them or whatever, I mean, they will not make a freaking sound, and then all of a sudden they're like right on top of you.
That's great. Can you shoot a cow?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Can you shoot a cow like where you hunt, or is it bull only? Or
no, we actually, it's easier to get cow tags. We don't really understand it totally, but so it's kind of like, I think for this year we have 1 bull tag and 2 cow tags and there's like 7 or 8 of us. So
sweet.
Yeah.
So do you do a lot of like wild game kind of stuff, or you like eat?
I love
stuff all the time.
Yeah, I love that stuff. I'll eat any of it. The moose meat's like top notch. Like I'd rather have my wife like never grew up hunting, and she will eat that more, like likes it as much or more than beef. What do you make?
What's your go-to moose? What are you making?
I'm doing some steaks with all the good pieces. We'll grind up, make a bunch of make hamburgers, make, tacos with it. Usually get some sausage, wild rice jalapeno sausage is really good.
Oh, now you're talking.
Some beef sticks. Yeah. Nothing goes to waste. That's probably like one of the funnest parts of the whole thing too, is like, we'll let them hang for a few days after we get back. And then it's a big, like, if you have 2 or 3 moose to chop up, it's start at 1 in the afternoon. It goes till 1 in the morning, and
I'm just picturing like the tenderloin, like tenderloin like that big, dude,
4
like
feet long, like a 48-inch muskie.
Oh my god!
Oh, dude, I'm not. Gussy.
Just picture taking the back strap out, and they're like,
that's what he's daydreaming about. He's like, I'm about to knock the sides off of this.
Come on, Gussy.
Have you ever eaten a muskie, Hahner?
Okay, so this is bad news.
Okay,
this is like sacrilegion around here. So we had a Titletown muskie outing, Green Bay muskie outing up in I want to say it was like 3 Lakes, Wisconsin, and one of us like tongue punched one, and it died instantly on the cast. So we got this like 45-incher. We're like, what are we gonna do with it? And one of the old men's like, well, we could fillet it. We're like, just looking at him like he's a ghost. Like, no, We'll bury it. We'll bury it before we eat
We're gonna have a ceremonial fire.
We'll bury it before we eat it and send it on its way. Like Braveheart. Just have the Braveheart music playing. But the old man, like, chopped it up and he's like, "Come on, take a bite." I'm like, "No, I can't take a bite. I can't take a bite." Took a bite.
Say it.
Nice plate.
Say it.
Say it.
Thank God we only get about 200 views, but that may have been the best fish I've ever eaten in my entire life.
There it is.
Oh, I can't believe you said that live.
It was super good.
Timestamp tagging Sims. Here we go, baby.
Hey, just so everyone's clear, we do not condone eating muskies in Canada.
No, it's too late. It's already been said. It's too late.
Yeah, you're gonna next time you try and cross the border, you're gonna get flagged. Hey,
Putting on his record.
Yep.
Bring him in here.
His permanent fishing record's been blacklisted.
I had a bit of walleye cheek. I'm not gonna lie to you. Yeah. fuck sashimi. That might be the best. The best fish you've ever had.
Game is on.
Pink, you got to get him for those moose, though. You got to get him that burrita taco recipe we had in the UP when we were filming this winter.
Yeah, we
because that ain't in the cookbook.
Cool, it's not, but we'll have to dish it to you because that would be insane with moose meat. But
yeah,
that's awesome. No, I think it's badass that you guys are still getting after it, like even after the fishing season's done and everything, because that's like that time of year is tough. Because I don't know how like early or whatever you guys get ice in your area, but like around here, it's like the hunting season kind of goes down right before we get ice, but.
Like you can go find little lakes, like it gets stuff freezes fairly early up here, but I'm not like, I'm going to hunt through that. And then I like going when I can go out on Lake of the Woods, and it's deep up on the northwest arm, kind of where I live. So it's usually, mid-December before we can get out there with a snowmobile. And the fishing's really good out there. So I usually just wait till that. I might do a crappie trip, or they have some stock brook trout in a few lakes. I'll go early once or twice. But when I was younger, I used to try to be the first guy on the ice, but I'm like, I don't know. I don't have to be that guy anymore,
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we have to be. So
yeah.
It's so much fun.
Your buddy Jamie, Gussy, he gets after pretty hard ice fishing, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's hardcore, man.
Yeah, like
sure, yeah. Like he's been the first guy on the ice lots, and he's a giant human. Like he's 6'6",
he is big, yeah,
6'7", and he's even to put skates on to skate out to get a little farther.
That's awesome.
Before, so yeah, no, he's a real good fisherman. Like kind of does it all, and so yeah, it's cool to see him doing so well.
But yeah, so with that kind of, Pink, you got anything else hunting wise, or
no, dude?
He's just jonesing. He's so
chat
hyped
about it a little bit, dude. I was.
Hey, you guys, does Adam always have a dark room look going when he's doing these things? Or like?
He does.
Yeah,
he's got his little blankie going.
I got my little blanket. It's freezing in the basement. Always, yeah. No, but so the Northern Swing, Gussy, which one are you most excited for, dude? You most excited for St. Clair or St. Lawrence?
Probably Champlain, then the St. Lawrence, then St. Clair. I've had some. I don't get along real great with St. Clair, but I got the forward sonar on the rig now, so that'll make life a little easier. When we were there in 2020,
yeah,
one of the worst tournaments I've ever had, and there was guys from like Texas and Arkansas fishing around me, and like not even being rude, but like probably caught more smallmouths in one day than some of these guys have in their life, and they were like working me. It was painful.
Yeah,
like Corey Johnston came by me a couple times and would be like, "How's it going, Gus?" I'm like, "I got 4." It's like 2 PM, Yeah, I got 4. And he's like, "Oh, there's 2 right over there." And he'd fire his shit over there. And like, "Oh, there's a 4-pounder." Just throw it back. And I'm just like, "Ah." Yeah, that was a bad experience. But yeah, no, I'm definitely looking forward to going to the smallmouth places. And we've obviously like had a few toughy events here the last couple. So yeah, looking forward to some good fishing.
Is Champlain, Hahner could probably answer this as well since I believe he's been there, but everybody from up here just raves about how Champlain is like just the best. And I don't know, all us guys up north are like, I don't know, fishing's pretty good up north. How can it be so much better there? Like, how is it just insane?
It's factory. I think it's really big. So there's, you can get away from people, and it's a factory. I mean, there's fish. I don't know about maybe in the middle main basin. You don't hear about guys fishing that stuff as much, but like that north end and the inland sea, I mean, it's just it's massive, and there's fish everywhere. It's just good fishing.
Yeah, it's like one of the coolest. If you're to live in like Minnesota or Wisconsin, once you go there, you know exactly what to do.
Yeah, it's like, similar.
Like it has a little bit of like the Mississippi River to it with like, what is it? It starts with an M. That river that goes up in the northeast arm, Missisquoi. Yeah. It has like that river feel, and then you can go out to the inland sea. You can catch smallmouth. You can catch largemouth. You go down to Ticonderoga where there's like mats and weed lines. Like it's so much fun. It's so much fun. Whatever your style is, you can play to it.
Like and there's you can catch smallmouths really shallow, like with the hair jigs. You can fish them. When we were there in 2020, I caught I had a really good tournament, and I ended up having a bad luck on the third day a bit. Like I think I was in second or third place going into the third day, and I had 16 pounds. I caught like a 21 incher that was 3.5 pounds, just like a skinny rail, and lost a couple big ones, and just had a few that. 2 were followed my bait, and the 2-pounder grab, just didn't go my way kind of, but no, I'm excited for that one for sure.
Oh, that's sweet. Yeah. I've always heard great things about Champlain. So I don't think there's anyone who said anything bad about it. So you fished the Sturgeon Bay Open forever then too, right?
Yeah. Years. Yeah. Probably fished it like 12 to 15 times maybe.
I know Sobi and Hahner have a little bit of history out there fishing the Sturgeon Bay Open. When was the last time you were back?
Fighter and I fished it together in 2019. I
think that's when me and Cody fished it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You guys had a really bad day, or not as good day one, then a really wicked day two.
Yeah, we had like 21 on day one, horrible, and then we had like 27 on day two, and I think we burned like $2 in gas. We didn't leave within 2 casts of the ramp there, pretty much. But
that one rock bar that's right across from the ramp.
We caught a couple there, and then we caught a bunch right off the buoy right in front of the ramp.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good.
There's your waypoints, bro.
But the funny thing is, not very many people really like. It's not like that big of a community spot compared to you go to Cedars or like the flats south of Cedars. Everybody goes straight across. So
it's like one of those places where like probably. Not 8 or 9 out of 10 times you stop there's going to be nothing there.
There's going to be nothing there.
Times I've seen them like that day. I'd caught them there. I had a waypoint there from years earlier, and I'm like, we'd caught a few on that point, and then I'm like, let's just go try it. I got a dot over here. Let's just go make a couple casts, and we pulled up there, and like I got a spot locked, and Seth, I think, caught our whole limit, just casting off the back corner. And he just had that cast. Like, I kept whipping shit back there, and I'd get a 3-pounder, and then he'd get a 6-pounder. Like,
that's sick.
Yeah. Would you love for them to bring an elite event there at some point in time to Sturgeon Bay?
Oh, yeah. Like anywhere any smallmouth place up north, that's a big upgrade from the Sabine River for me.
Exactly.
Or those types of places. So.
Do you think they would ever do a rainy one, or is that a border issue, you think?
Well, the problem on the Canadian side is we can only keep 4 bass per day. The limit's 4. No idea why. So for the team tournaments, it's fine. But for that tournament, you might have to just keep it on the U.S. side, or you could keep 4 in Canada and come. I mean, I don't know. It would be kind of weird, but
we'd be going through like the old Paulina culling rules, basically.
Yeah.
On the Mississippi River. That ain't fun. Well, then, Well, I think we can't go this whole time without just asking about the Classic. I think that's fair. If any of us have any questions on that, I mean, the biggest thing
that went pretty well, eh?
Yeah, that went pretty good, huh? Pretty good week.
Yeah, no, that river's been kind of good to me. I still can't believe it. Like, but Cody's traveled around and done all this, fish this stuff too, and like it. You just don't really. You're doing it, and like you just, you never feel like you're gonna. I don't know. I never felt like I would win one, and then finally, like I show up at this place, have this horrible practice, and find there's a few smallmouths here. Like I'll come and try and catch a couple. If I get a couple, I'll have maybe I can survive this tournament. And pull up there, and it's like the best spot in Tennessee to catch smallmouths. And and then going back this time, obviously I was pretty excited for it. It was a little added pressure last season, because I wanted to make sure I made it. Mm-hmm. And I went there. Obviously went and checked out the old stuff the first day of practice, and like there was a lot of fish there still, but way harder to catch now, and like a lot of people were fishing them. But I knew what existed and the potential of it, and I just started going down into Tellico, and I ended up finding 2 schools, and it was barely enough. And I got pretty lucky on a few, just as far as like when we got there for practice, it was below freezing at night. It was cold. And then by the tournament, it was getting like in the high 70s and not getting that cold at night. Like they were starting to roll, and they were like on a full wintering hole kind of thing. I feel like where I caught them. And if it had been another day or two I had to fish, I would have been toast. And then on the other side of it, if the tournament would have started a day or two early, it would have probably been a really, really easy time. But pretty crazy. It all worked out. And it's like I said, I still can't believe it. It's been pretty life-changing. And,
Yeah. And I know Hahner and I were texting on the final day at like 10. And I just like, we need the real, like, I want to know what is in your head at that point in time when you're like, oh my God, I have one bass. Like, what are you doing?
Honestly, I kept it together pretty good. Like I knew I just
come on, bro. I watched you on camera. You're fidgeting a little bit,
but I've never had
a
this.
Bit.
And honestly, from the time I started fishing, I had the shakes going a bit. Like all day.
No, how could you not? Yeah.
Yeah, no, and I mean, I'm pretty even keel. Like, I don't get too worked up one way or the other. And but the thing is I caught quite a few. Like, they had to be 18 inches to keep. I caught quite a few, like 17 inches the last day. I mean, I was catching some, I was seeing some. So it wasn't like it was just like full ghost town. And I'm like, don't feel like I even have a chance. Like every time I put my bait out there, I'm like, but I got to put it in front of one that hasn't seen it yet and doesn't know my boat's here, and I'll have a chance to catch it. And luckily, I tricked 2 of them and didn't lose any. And it just had to be so frustrating, like watching them and knowing it's just not quite right, but you're just kind of forcing it just enough to like. Yeah. I know this is the right thing to do, but I know the conditions aren't quite right to be doing this. Yeah.
Like you're just forcing it enough. Cause I was talking to, like, I was bringing up my text messages from Bill from Lake Despair, and I was texting him back and forth. I'm like, he's got to stay on it. And we're like texting feverishly back and forth. Like, and then, I'm like, oh, he's got it. He got one. He got it. And then you went like this super long stretch. I'm like, oh, fuck. He might not have it. And then you caught those 2. And I'm like, I called him and he's like, oh, bud, you're not going to believe this. And I heard his wife in the background, Gussy got it. He got it. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Absolutely awesome.
This is all hypothetical, obviously, Gussy, but do you think like Do you think you stay there all day if you don't have Mega Live and see them swarming around and it's old school 2D days?
No, probably not. Never even thought about that. But
did you have live? You didn't have live in 2021 when you won that, right?
No, you didn't need it though.
But I mean, like the visual is different, right? Because like Bart was just saying, like you'd have probably bailed, right? If you didn't.
Yeah, because you couldn't that was the thing when it was slick calm that last day. Like I want to get right on top of them. And like the first day, the first couple days, I mean, it was kind of windy and they weren't really on to me yet that much. Like I could kind of get on top of them, and those couple I caught, and I got a couple on the second day that same way, but I was actually having to pitch my bait out and just sort of swim it over top of them more than like straight up get on top of them, which is, how you want to do it. And I think it's getting like that a lot of places now. When these fish start to get pressured, it's harder to, like you think 20 to 30 feet of water is pretty deep, but like it's really the length of your boat. So when you're on top of them, I mean, they know you're there, like for sure, right? So
yeah, that's always what gets me when I look at my graph and I'm like, well, I'm in 20 feet. It's plenty deep. And then I look back at my motor and I'm like, man, that is not that far. Like, that is so much closer than I thought it was.
So what I want to know is, what did Shelby think of all this? Like after day one, and then did she tell you, like, obviously I would assume she was watching live. Like, what did she think about? Was she shitting bricks?
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, she's pretty she doesn't get too worked up either. So I don't think she watched a lot of the live stuff. Like I think she did the first day, and then I think on day 3, I mean, we just had a lot of friends and family that showed up. So like it was
entertaining.
They were having fun and went out for long. I'm sure she was following it, and I'm sure her phone was staying pretty busy too. But no, I mean, I've just heard her tell people after that, I know however it works out, that's going to be how it works out. And yeah.
What was we'll roll into our good old weigh-in a second here and wrap it up, but I just got to know, what was the best part of the party after? We were talking Fort Francis and everything was so much fun getting with the boys and everything, but like you had to get that trophy, and I know everyone was the feedback of how many pictures you took and hung out with so many people is like just a testament to how great of a dude you are. But that whole time you had to be like, dude, just give me a beer. Like let's get downtown. I want to celebrate this. What was that like?
Yeah, no, the celebration started not long after it was over. And that'll be one of the best nights of my life. Bass does this like champions toast thing back at the hotel where everybody's staying. So a lot of the anglers are still there. So a lot of the other anglers show up. So it's cool to share that with everybody. I have a lot of respect for all the guys that I fish against, and then a lot of my friends got to come, and like Kevin Van Dam showed up there. So like I got a picture with him, got to visit with him for a bit, and then he was talking to some of my buddies, and yeah, like it was we had a good time. It was pretty sweet.
I think seeing Buff fly into town with flip-flops and shorts, and like he was telling me, he's like, yeah, dude, I just walked around the expo. You wouldn't believe how nobody had the right size clothes for me. Took them forever to find anything to put on.
After like Friday went so good, and I've told this story a couple times, but after Friday went so good, my brother and Jamie Bruce decided to drive down. And they called Buff and were like, hey, we're going to pick you up. We're on our way through Mini. And he's like, oh, I'm down in Florida with the family on vacation. He goes, hang on. And he calls him back like 10 minutes later. And he's like, I booked a flight. The wife said I could go for a couple days. So they pick him up. He literally got dropped off at the airport with flip-flops, shorts, and a T-shirt. Brought nothing. And so the next day on Sunday, they go to the expo, and like they're like basically looking around for who's giving away like giant shirts that this guy can wear. He got a Leopold sunglasses shirt, and that's what he was wearing all night. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, no, he's the best, man. Like that was pretty cool that he showed up, and yeah,
dude. I just one last thing on this. It was badass to kind of watch. I was able to watch a lot of the live. It was sweet the way you won that, but I gotta say that was probably, I mean, like, you are a part of probably the sickest live coverage that Bass has ever put out now, with that being able to show your graph deal.
Oh, 100%.
Did you know that was
sweet.
like lined up, that they were going to be doing that?
Yeah. We put a HDMI cable coming out of that Apex unit, and so they could plug into it. And then like the first day I didn't really want to do it because I didn't really want to show in case like that was the problem, was I only had a couple spots, right? So I knew that like once I fished them, I'm giving them up, and you never know if somebody's going to go fish them or not. Like when we were there in 21, those guys really left that canal alone. A lot of people were out watching, and they were great. Like other places we go, I wouldn't have got that that luxury. And then for this one, that's why I started in that canal the first day. I was just, maybe I can get lucky and catch them in there and not have to expose these other two spots. And that didn't work out. So but luckily I only had to fish the one spot on the first day. And then on day 2, I ended up having to use the second spot again. And, but yeah, it was pretty cool the way, after, because I get it. It's not the most exciting way to fish. And if people are watching that, and you're going to see a lot of that now in these next few tournaments, like that's what everyone's going to have their head down looking at their screens. I mean, most people. And there'll be some more of that coming up here in these next few tournaments for sure.
Yeah. Well, it's a wicked way for people to watch it though. I got to say, like being able to watch live and see that is like total new deal. That's super
And
cool.
for all the people like I just saw Randy block at someone. I don't watch any of his videos, but somebody,
at all. No.
Aquaview is a sponsor of mine, and he just went off on his latest one about Aquaviews are going to ruin fishing now next. And it's like, dude, they've been around for 20 years. Like they're like a good pre-fishing tool. You can learn a lot about the spots you like to fish, but like you can't use it and fish at the same time. Like, idiot.
Been looking for sandgrass up through the ice with an Aquaview for years.
But it's just like I feel bad because man, I don't know. He's fished for a long time. Like I wish he would have more respect for like the guys that do it for a living. Like obviously we're all going to use like whatever equipment we can use.
Oh yeah. Well, you're not going to like handicap yourself because
it's all on the line. Like, it's a big.
But the live sonar stuff, I mean, for people that haven't seen it and maybe have that same kind of perception that he does, it's cool to see. Like you don't catch every fish you see on those things. I mean, Taku does maybe, but most of us don't. And I don't know. I mean, it is what it is. It's fun. I have a lot of fun using it. I love watching how fish interact with your baits, and it's fun showing people that haven't got to use it before. I mean, like I said, I've been doing a lot of guiding, and I get people in the boat that have never used it, and they, especially like kids, next thing you know, like once you show them how to use it, they're elbowing me right beside me on the front of the boat all day. Like, hey, where are they? Where are they at?
Yeah.
Oh,
dude, that video is funny though. Cause I remember when I was at Kentucky, in practice, he posted a video, like a vlog in front of the marina being like, the lake's dead. There's no more bass in it. There's carp everywhere. And I texted Hahner a link to the video and a screenshot of my graph with like 87 waypoints. And I was like, I'm going to catch so many bass. Like, I am so excited. And it's just funny to see the difference,
Yeah, I don't know. So whatever. I mean, people watch the videos, but it's disappointing because like that guy's been around for a long time and had a good career tournament fishing, and just to do what he's doing, just to, I guess, maybe he's making way more money than all of us put together on YouTube.
Yeah, Sobi, he's getting those YouTube views, right?
It comes at a price. I don't want people on podcasts being like, he said Aquaviews are killing fishing.
Oh, perfect. But I mean, Gussy, if you want to stick around for this is one of our more fun segments. Should be fairly quick. We're gonna do a weigh-in. I think this one's only right. This one will be a little more fun. We're gonna do the worst parts of walleye fishing. So I'm sorry for any of our guys who are walleye guys. It will come around. We'll eventually do something about bass. But for people who don't know, this is a snake draft style. We roll around the room and we will select 4 things for our own team. So there's no double ups. So you got to keep track of it. I will keep a list here. Pink, how are we deciding order? How are we doing this?
I think we got to let Gussy go first. We'll get him in on the action so he doesn't get burned right away. And then, I don't know. I don't know how we go about.
Normally we do the hand, but we can do Gussy with the number behind his back. But like he can't pull a Jesse Baker and tell us all the number immediately.
Yeah. So Gussy, you'll pick a number between 1 and 4, and then we'll all say a number, and then whoever's got it is 1, and then how do we want to do it? The next closest, like go up. Like
we'll just roll through it real quick. Gussy, what? Okay, put a number behind your back. I'll go 3.
2.
Okay.
I got 1.
4.
Okay, so
Let's
Hunter's second.
Let's go.
Do it again, Gussy. We'll figure this out quick.
One more time.
2.
What?
You can't tell us it. You got to put it behind your back. We got to guess the number.
Just think of number between 1 and 3.
Yes, yep. Okay. I'll go with 1.
2.
I'll go 3.
What was it? Oh, right on it.
Okay. Then we'll go to Pink will be 3rd. I will go 4th. Sobi go 5th. He can do the wraparound. That's normally a good spot to be. I can go last if you want me to.
The wraparound's good.
The wraparound's good.
No, that's good. All right. Perfect.
All right. Gussy.
It sounds confusing, Gussy, but I don't think it is. This is only my second time doing this. I don't think it's not too confusing.
We got it.
I'm not worried about it.
And you have to be, you can be broad, you can be detailed, whatever you want. Gussy, what is one of the worst parts of walleye fishing? What's your 1 of 1 pick?
I just fished a tournament and we had to catch like 8 walleyes for every bass this weekend. And the body armor is the worst. I have so many little nicks and cuts and spines in my hands. They're tore up.
That's a good
one. So, you know.
That is a good one.
Yeah, like the spines and walleyes.
The gill plates are the worst, like because we were getting a lot of like 21 inches, like not big ones, but like big enough where you couldn't really boat flip them, and like, yeah, they just tear
shaking around, and you're trying to grab the gills and
shred it.
So,
and I'm not like fighting them out either until they're tired. Like I'm reeling them in, like, hey, come on, strap them, kick in. Oh yeah, I got another cut.
Connor, what do you got for number 2?
All right, this may be an obscure number 1, but I'm going to say my number 1 is actually catching a walleye.
The act of catching a walleye. Okay. Yeah. That's good.
Oh my God.
You got to eat, man.
Have you seen him?
Just the fact you're like, oh, God damn it. Like you're on Table Rock Lake and you're like, oh, yup, good one. And there's like a 23-inch walleye on the end of your line. Like, oh, my. I am going to punt this thing through a field goal.
Coming from someone who just went on a dedicated walleye trip.
He was the dedicated guide person.
I was the dedicated guide person. I was the only person who could read a graph.
Pink, what do you got?
All right. Okay. Hahner, I'm taking this. This is blatant robbery that I'm taking this from you. So my 1 of 1 is the barstool biologist bit on having to have the worst part is even just having to have the conversation that you're catching less walleyes because the muskies are eating them all. And I have no shame. None.
What am I putting on the graphic here? Having the conversation that muskies are eating them all?
Yeah.
Barstool biology. I feel like that was made up.
Yeah. Parentheses, muskies ate all the walleyes.
Biology.
Okay. Sorry, this is a long one to write.
I had that on my list with an asterisk that just said stolen.
Okay, I'm gonna go with I feel like the obvious one. If you have to do it to catch them, I'm just going trolling.
Yeah.
Just in general. That's probably the worst part of walleye fishing, I would say. If you're trolling, That it is awful. I can't think of anything worse.
I feel like that's a weak one of one, but okay.
Mm-hmm.
I got some other creative ones.
We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes if it's real windy and cold, like sometimes trolling's kind of fun.
Trolling can be fun, yeah.
Yeah, drive boat, eat chips.
Drive boat, eat
Hashtag.
Hey. Sobi, what do you got? And you got the wraparound too, so you get to go back to back.
Mine would be sitting mad. So I only really walleye fish in the spring, but like every time I'm around guys that are like trying to push in or maybe I'm pushing in on them, I'm like, me and my girlfriend are casting, like we're not great walleye anglers. We're throwing shad wraps, like casting at weed lines, little rock piles, and dudes will be facing the other way, vertical jigging straight down, sitting, and they're pissed. You know what I mean? Like as if my cast would be underneath the boat where they're fishing or something like that. They're sitting mad. So
that's a good one.
Was it though?
No, not that close. No.
It's only like 20 feet.
By their motor.
They were facing the other way, dude.
They were facing the other way. Sitting mad.
Okay, what else do you got?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're on the wraparound. Got lost in the snake already.
Another worst thing about walleye fishing is I hate when walleye guys talk about the specific numbers of like beads or the specific spinner color when they're using live bait. You know what I mean? So like they're gonna choke on that sucker or that leech no matter what. But no, I'm running 3 orange beads, and you're kind of like, okay, you're also running a leech or a crawler harness. I know it makes a difference sometimes, but I'm always kind of like,
they're checking the specs.
Does it? I'm
gonna okay. So for my second one, it's kind of going a little bit off of what Gussy said with the body armor and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm saying getting the hook out when they're just pissed and their mouth is shut and you can't get it open.
Clamp down, gills flared, bro.
Yeah, when they're just pissed and you're like, give me my hook. And you just can't get it open.
Someone give the man a pair of jaw spreaders already.
Yeah. Get that mouth open.
All right, Pink, you are next.
All right, so I'm going that you got to talk about every single fish in inches instead of pounds.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's low-key a really good one.
And then if they happen to like catch a bass, they'd say, we got 2 16-inch bass.
Yeah.
Caught a 21 measure everything today. Just in inches. Then
they're talking about
if they're a designated walleye guy, it's all in inches. Everything.
Couple 21s,
Yeah.
Did you catch 21 inches? Did you?
And guess what? It weighed 3.5 pounds, right, Gussy?
Yep. No good.
All right, Hahner, you got we're back to you.
I do. The Fox River, De Pere, Green Bay.
God, that should have just been a 1-1.
General location. Yeah.
The absolute worst of the worst. You wanna get out fishing so
Mecca,
badly.
The Mecca of walleye.
And you just go.
Just to go snag them.
You snag them, you catch them. It does not matter. But I guarantee you, if I usually have my friend in the boat who is not happy about the 10,000 other people that are with us gathered in that river. Doesn't matter where we are at. We could be in University Bay. There could be a guy a quarter mile away from us. What the fuck are you doing out there? The fuck? Are you serious, man?
Would have gone to that spot next, but he's there.
I'm on my trolling pass. I'm like, dude, oh my God.
Hahner's out there beefing up his line to get more planer boards.
No, we have young children in our boat to beef up our planer boards.
Oh, right.
We're running 16 deep, son.
Got the trees out.
All right, Gussy, what do you got on here? You get 2 back-to-back now, so anything we've left slept.
Well, I never really prepped for this at all, but I'm going to go with the walleye tournament crowd is not as fun as the bass tournament crowd.
100%.
There it is.
Like,
100%.
There's I have a lot of friends that are walleye anglers. Dusty Minky's one of the finest people ever and funnest people ever, walleye angler. But in general, my bass fishing crowd is usually funner.
100%.
Why does that go in detail?
I'm just writing it down to make sure I get it. Yeah,
I know.
Gussy,
You guys get it.
Gussy, you get the wraparound too. You got to come up with another one. So you can make fun of me about needing a jaw spreader, but at least I'm prepared.
On Lake of the Woods, the walleye take over the bass spots sometimes, and that can be frustrating. We have 1 million walleyes up here, and when you roll up there now, and if I throw that mega live in, and they're just stacked 15 of them in a line in a row, it's not bass. Walleyes.
Just parentheses on that one should just be disappointment.
Well, yeah.
yeah.
That's precisely it.
But I love eating them. I like going walleye fishing and catching them.
Yeah,
killing them.
That's fine. But yeah, I've had a lot of disappointment in tournaments when it's just Walleyeville.
Hahner.
Okay, so this is gonna you guys might make fun of me a little bit for this one.
Do it.
Leeches.
Period.
Leeches. Can't do it. Can't do it, son.
Really?
Cannot do it. Dude, it's something up. It's I can touch a minnow. I can touch a worm. But it's something about having a little onto yourself that just.
Have you ever got leeches on you, swimming in the lake, had a ton of leeches and
okay, we're changing the fantasy fishing punishment.
I do think that's freaky.
It's the absolute worst. I take a long-nosed pliers, a musky pliers that's about 12 inches long, and I'll grab one and
Are you freaking kidding me?
I am not joking, dude. I am not joking. I'll get the sucker and I wrap it around. I got a full system. You're there you go, father.
Been doing this for decades.
There you go.
There you go, father.
Damn.
His father now just thinks it's normal that's what pro fishermen do.
Yeah, and he's
yeah, they just grab them with pliers.
Oh no,
you're not
he was making fun of me the whole time. He's like, "Why aren't you gonna grab one of these?" I'm like, "Dude, it's sucking that." Ooh.
Dude, they're 2 inches long.
Not these suckers. Not these ones. Not these
Jumbos.
Ones that we got from.
You got a pound of jumbos
from the Lake of the Woods sports, whatever the fuck you want to call it. No, they're this big. That motherfucker could take if you put it on your jugular, you're out.
That's it,
dude. The ones you use for fishing don't even suck blood. They're different than
I don't care. Gussie.
I think they are different. Yeah, aren't they?
Yeah,
Gussie, I do not care.
He's not taking the risk.
It's got a thing that sucks
credibility here from Hahner.
It sucks to me, bro.
He's from Wisconsin. Give him a break.
Oh,
all right, not a chance.
Pink, what do you got?
All right. This is my third pick, right?
Yes.
All right. So I'm going with that. As soon as you try to take a picture, they put their dorsal fin down.
That is such a good one.
Squeezing their back. Come on, put it
I'm
up.
Tickling the spot, just a little.
Yeah.
Nope, that don't do shit.
That is incredible. That's so true. It's beyond true.
I don't know. It just hit home.
You said that in my head. I was just yeah. As a guy who photos them, it is the worst. That's a very good point. They do it every time.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all I have to say about that.
We're gonna go back to the bait route, but I am going specifically ice fishing. Minnow heads. Dumbest thing in the world. Why do I have to break a minnow in half and put the head on and then jig it and then I lose it after a minute and then I'm like, oh, guess what? I get to put another minnow head on.
Good thing you didn't use the tail though.
Yeah,
tails work
exactly.
Too.
Nope.
Only minnow heads.
That's a Canada thing.
That's Canada thing. Yeah, no, our fish don't do that.
That just it blows my mind when you look at guys that are yeah. And you got to put a blade spoon down there with a minnow head, not the full body, not the tail, a minnow head. And you're like, what? Okay.
I never use tails ever. I don't know. I just feel like I'm selling myself short. You know?
Well, you
it is dumb. It's so dumb. It's stupid dumb. But I yeah.
You might as well get 2 scoops.
Sobi, you are up. You got back to back.
Okay. I'm gonna say I feel like I brought this up potentially in the other podcast, but aggressive trollers, like especially if now bass is open now, you know, and I'm fishing and this guy is coming down the line and I can see him. Like 2 weeks ago, I got hit with a planer board like by the back end of the boat, and I was like, you know, and I've been spot locked here for like 30 minutes, and I'm like, okay, and he's like, oh, I've been trolling here all day. And I was like, okay, you're like a quarter mile away, like a half hour ago.
Like, bro,
that would make me see red.
It's like my line counter's at 300, dude.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Aggressive trollers. But and then before I go into my other one, I want to say, giving Cody some grace. Leeches are a little freaky, not the ones you buy at the store, but the last time I had a good full out cry, like I was bawling my freaking eyes out. I think I was 14. I know, pert near a man. And we were like putting in like duck blinds at my buddy's house in like August, and it was hot as shit. And I was like, my waders are absolutely garbage. So I was like, you know what? No. I'll just go in. I'll go in either barefoot or with Crocs. No big deal. And I'm putting them in, and we're like in the water all day. And I'm like, I was younger, so I was like kind of way out there and grunting it out. And we get out, and everybody else had waders. I didn't. And from about my belly button down, dude, it was just loaded with these little leeches. And I was flipping shit like everywhere, like, you know, by the McNuggets and everything, dude. I was crying my eyes out, dude. It's a horrible feeling.
Like some fucking sea lampreys on.
And then you got to put it on a hook. You have to put it on a hook, and not just once. You put it on the
such a bitch. It's not even.
Grab that.
All right, Sobi, what's your next?
And then probably last one, like those big time tournaments that go out to Erie and all. I know the lake can handle, but just like those big time walleye tournaments, a lot of those big dogs is just like catch and kill. You know what I mean? Like, damn, dude, like all these 12-pounders just dead. Just 12-pounders dead all over, which I'm not like, you know, a huge, I love giant walleyes by any means, but it just is like, dang, dude, they're all going to die. I see all the weigh-in pictures. I'm like, they're all dead, dude. Yeah. They're all dead.
They're holding them all up smiling. On those, though?
I know.
Oh, my God.
Nuggets.
It's like a filet mignon.
That's good. That's a good one. All right. To bring it home, my fourth pick, I'm going to say the fact you always hear about a sunrise bite. Got to be out there at sunrise. Got to be out there right before sunrise. That ain't me, man. That ain't me. Don't need to be there that early. I ain't about that. They only bite when it's dark or about to be dark or about to be light. I ain't about it.
All right. My last one to close it out would just be chasing eaters around the live well. Because I don't know, whenever you put the bass in, you always put on like call tags and stuff, they're easy to get out, but it's like those 14 inchers that just use every inch of the bottom of that thing, and you got all the water in there.
Speaking of call tags,
yeah.
So I had my call tags in my boat for my dad, and my dad he's got to show up the other partner in the business on the trip that we're on, and he's like, we're on Rainy Lake. He's like, we have to have the perfect just under 18-incher. And I'm like,
the maximum meat.
The maximum meat allowed. We got our perfect 17 and 7/8 keepers. So he's like, what are these things? I'm like, that's what I used to call fish with. So I put it on their lip and I put them back in the live well, and then I beam them and whatever. He's like, can we do that with walleyes? I'm like, I guess you could.
Yeah, Gussy, think of that. TH Marine Conservation call tags. No. The optimal harvesters.
It's absolutely probably not legal. But we have
cut it off here.
He's got them on the TH Marine clips. He's like, what do you think of this one? I'm like,
I just got him on the beam.
I don't care.
Was an ounce
I'm not going to eat a single of this. We are not going to eat any of this.
Nope, that one's back thicker. I knew it.
Yes. Oh yeah. 17 and 7/8. Just called out a 17 and 5/8.
Look at the shoulders on her.
Yep. Pretty solid.
That's beautiful.
All right, Hunter, what's your pick?
Oh, I was gonna say.
Got lost in the
Distracted.
story.
No, I'm gonna say. No, I'm gonna say this one. I have to kind of find out of what it is.
Oh boy.
Wisconsin or American Canadian fishermen. Americans going to Canada to go fish walleyes and thinking that they are actual fishermen.
Yes, yeah, that's actually a good
I don't know the best going somewhere.
Yes, yeah.
Like,
yep.
yeah, I haven't used meat. I haven't had meat in my boat in like 3 years up here. I just use plastic guide trips.
Yeah,
like we don't just use plastic. Catch like 100 every day.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Well, when Gussy, when you're with a Mike Hahner who doesn't fish but once a year, but his son who is like the fisherman, yeah, we got to catch some fish.
And he's putting leeches on with the pliers.
Oh my god, it was horrendous. I've got my jig and wrap set up. I'm like, yeah, I ain't touching that shit. He's like, son,
you got to just
put something on my.
Just bring some green pumpkin Ned rigs up there, and like you'll catch everyone you see on your screen. They're not kidding you. Let it go to the bottom and shake it. They'll just follow it down and eat it every time.
See, I might know this, but someone was setting the hook so hard and violently, he'd be all right. Here it is. This is Mike Hahner. Ready? Sitting in the side of the boat with the beta side. He's like, you see one coming up? I'm like, yeah, I'm watching your rod. So like, Jake, ta-dunk. I'm like, well, set the hook. It's like, I got a theory. Take a sip of beer. The whack! Like sets it like he's setting into a sucker of a muskie and it breaks off. He's like, oh, yep, the pike are in the area. Yeah, I knew the pike were in the area right now. I knew it. My jeez.
All right, Gussy, bring us home. What's your last pick for the worst parts of walleye fishing?
People that can't clean them.
Ooh, that is a good
Did you want to call anyone out?
Well, I already called out Corey.
Do you want me to put Corey on the graphic and tag him?
No. Or you know what? Like I have friends that like have cleaned a lot of walleyes and they don't cut the little Y bone, like the butterfly them, you know?
Yeah, the pin bones.
Like your fillet starts here and then you got two little, a split halfway up the middle. Like cut that little strip of bones out. Takes a second. They fry up faster, better, more batter, way better.
Agreed. No, that's good. I'll roll through these in a sec. Does anyone have any honorable mentions? My only one was the good old Lindy rig and open the bail up. And then you wait for like 10 to 15, 20 seconds to set the hook. Connor was kind of talking about it, but that was one of my honorable mentions.
Yeah. That feels like throat.
Yeah. Like they're like, I just never, every time I filmed a walleye show, or I still do to this day, and we're dragging something, they're like, there's a bite, and they just flip the bail open. Like that just does not register in my head.
That is kind of odd. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a quick sip of beer, and then you set the hook. Yeah.
Just a little slackline hook set.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Did you boys have any honorable mentions, or we get through them? Pink's normally got one good one.
I got a lot of Green Bay ones, but
we can do a Green Bay special next spring.
I did have one, but like Gussy, you're not even gonna get this because like walleye fishing sucks so much around where like we live a lot of the time. Is like there you get the one random fucking walleye in like where they should not be.
Yeah.
Like where you like catch around a frog. Or like, you just like flip up under a dock. Big walleye.
Yeah.
Like stuff like that. Oh shit. Stuff like that. I don't know.
We were cracking them on chatterbaits this weekend.
That's so sweet.
Oh, good old Lake of the Woods. All right, so I'll roll through this quick. So we've got Gussy with the body armor and gill plates, beating up your hands. walleye tournament crowd is not as fun as bass tournament crowd. Them taking over bass spots and people who can't clean them.
That's a good solid roster.
It's a good list. It's a very solid roster. We got Hahner. Hahner's got a very good roster. Hahner leads off with catching a walleye. And then we got Fox River / De Pere, leeches, and Americans going to Canada and are experts.
That's a good one.
Dude,
that is a
very good pick. I can't believe that stayed till the 4th round.
I think leeches is gonna pull you down though, dude.
Pink,
dude, leeches might.
People are too much leeches talk in this podcast. Pink, we've got having the conversation. Muskies ate them all. Inches, not pounds.
That's
dorsal down on picks. Chasing eaters around the live well.
It's good.
Good one.
I feel good about that.
We got me with trolling, getting the hook out, minnow heads, and sunrise bite. And then we got Sobi with sitting mad, specific. I can't read this. Specific beads. Specific beads. It was specific beads.
Specific beads while using live bait.
Yeah, that's a distinction.
Yes, that's the key. The specifics while using live bait.
Okay, I got it. And then we got aggressive trollers and catch and kill. Tournaments or just in general?
Do catch and kill tournaments because I'm all about catch and kill. I really am for the eyes.
Need that short lunch.
We're talking about the overs here.
Yeah, we're talking about the overs.
All right.
If I catch and kill one, it's fine. But the guys that know what they're doing, come on.
Come on.
No, that is great. All right. So we will put a graphic up on social media. You guys can vote for who you believe will win. Just remember, Hahner said leeches like 90 times in the last 30 minutes. So hopefully that'll
doesn't have that ick.
We will see how that goes. But in general, thank you so much, Gussy, for popping on. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much.
We've definitely wasted enough of your time for one night.
Good to see everybody.
Yeah, we just figured we'd have a little bit of fun and not interrogate you on the whole time of how the Bassmaster Classic was. So I think we did a fairly good job at that. Had a little bit of fun.
Phenomenal hunting stories and the wild game meat and the wolf hunting. There's a lot of awesome stuff in here. So if you didn't hear it all, go back and listen. It's incredible.
Perfect. Well, yeah. Thank you everybody for tuning in. And until next time, that's another episode of Past the Barb.